Hello? Is this 110? I want to report an emergency. A biohazard-style dungeon appeared on my wall. Come save me quickly. Through the circular portal of light, I can see a dilapidated and rotting restaurant inside. There are residues of some dried liquid on the floor. Outside the window, black rain washes over the ruins. A few zombies are staggering in the rain. In the distance, the figure of some giant humanoid creature flickers in and out of sight. Close it, close it, close it now! With a strong wave of my will, the blue vortex on the wall suddenly shrinks and vanishes. I'm such a genius. This overwhelming fortune, handing it over to the state, is indeed the right choice. 10 minutes later, a knock sounds at the door. Did you call the police? Yes, officer. Are you guys carrying guns? Buddy, how much have you had to drink? Asking about guns. Why didn't you ask if we brought grenades? Young man, you reported a biohazard portal in your house and said there were zombies. I know this sounds crazy. No matter what you see later, don't move. Don't touch it or get close, okay? When the two saw the dilapidated world behind the portal, they couldn't help but gasp. Is this a holographic projection? Is 3D technology this advanced now? This isn't a special effect. Just wait. Saying this, I quickly ran into the kitchen. 10 seconds later, I walked out holding a live chicken. Look closely. I threw the hen directly into the portal. The frightened hen had just reached the restaurant entrance when it let out a piercing scream. The feathers on its body quickly became scorched and withered, and it began to mutate. Deathly silence filled the living room. Calling command center. This is ID 9527, room 302, building 4, Happiness Garden, Hybin City. A major unknown incident has occurred. It's not a criminal case. It's not a fire. There is a door here, leading to hell? Requesting SWAT support. Requesting chemical defense forces. Requesting a lockdown of the entire neighborhood. Quickly, this is a level 1 biohazard threat. This is not a drill. Repeat, this is not a drill. The once quiet and peaceful Happiness Garden. Fighters and helicopters patrol the sky, while police cars and armored vehicles surround the area in layers. Inside the temporary command center, Lin Han, male, 24 years old, Hybin City local, freelance designer, parents passed away early, no criminal record, no history of mental illness. Half an hour ago, you said a door opened on your wall, leading to a parallel world. We have already verified it. Our technicians just went inside. Drones conducted preliminary exploration. Air sample analysis results are out. Besides containing a large amount of unknown viral aerosols, the oxygen content and gravity environment, and even the atmospheric pressure are identical to Earth's. It really is another Earth. What about my house? Your house is now a national top-secret site. All residents of the building have signed non-disclosure agreements and have been relocated. From now on, it no longer belongs to you. Or rather, it no longer belongs to the civilian Lin Han. What about me? Am I going to be sliced for research? On Chen Gufeng's serious face, a rare hint of a smile appeared. No, you are more valuable than that. Just then, General Zhao, who is usually only seen in military news, walked in. Young comrade, you must have been terrified tonight. Sigh, I'm okay. I've been briefed on the situation. Can you control that door? For example, opening, closing, or moving it? Opening and closing, yes. I control it with my mind. Moving it is not possible. Also, I can feel the size of the door. It seems to be related to me, but I don't quite understand it yet, as long as it can be opened and closed. Young comrade, I am now officially asking you a question on behalf of the state. What does this door signify? You should be aware. It is a crisis. If the virus from the other side leaks through, it will be a catastrophe for us. But it is also an opportunity, a brand new world with unknown technology and resources. A parallel world. You hold the key to opening it. What do you intend to do? I fell silent. Although, when I called the police, I had already thought of the answer. But facing these high-level state officials, the pressure still felt suffocating. Chief, I'm just an ordinary citizen. I don't understand grand theories, but I know that the things over there are too much for me to handle alone. So, I am handing this door over to the state, but I have one condition. Speak. I want absolute protection from the state. Not just protection from being eaten by monsters over there, but also protection from being exploited by certain people. I only trust the state. Comrade Lin Han, your trust has been received by the state. Immediately establish a strategic special operations group. Code name, Hard fire. Comrade Lin Han is specially recruited into the military, appointed to the rank of civilian major, serving as a special advisor for Project Hard Fire, with regimental level benefits, and his immediate family will be placed on the level 1 security list. I stood outside the glass wall of the isolation room, watching 6 fully armed soldiers, getting ready in front of the light portal. All units, attention. This is not a drill. Chen Guofeng's voice rang through the communication channel. This is an exploration across time and space. Our primary goal is to confirm environmental safety. Secondly, to collect samples. Remember, safety first. If you encounter uncontrollable danger, withdraw immediately. I took a deep breath and raised my right hand. Although I can control it with just my mind, I still made the gesture out of habit. Countdown, Chen Guofeng ordered. 3. Open the door. With a thought, on the wall, a deep blue vortex expanded rapidly. A cold wind mixed with the scent of death surged out, but was immediately sucked away by the negative pressure system. Environmental monitoring team, report the readings. Report. Radiation levels on the other side of the passage are slightly high, but within the safety range. Oxygen concentration is consistent with Earth. Viral aerosol reactions detected, but activity is extremely low. It lacks the ability for airborne transmission. Confirmed no risk of airborne infection. Lieutenant Colonel Lei Long, the leader, stepped into the vortex first. Like passing through a curtain of water, the next second, he was standing in a dilapidated room in the other world. Vanguard 1, do you copy? Check communication signal. Static. Vanguard 1 copies. Signal strength is good. Ready to move. Copy. Reporting to command. I have successfully arrived in the target area. Visual confirmation of an indoor environment. Structural damage is severe, but there is no immediate risk of collapse. On the large screen of the command center, Lei Long's first-person view appeared. Dust everywhere, mold spots in the corners, and a pool of dried, blackened blood. The remaining 5 members entered one by one, deploying their work in a trained manner. Captain, look at this. A member by the ruins in the corner wiped away the thick dust, revealing a flat and tin road sign, Haishan City 3rd Middle School. Below the sign was a worn-out school bag, from which several 5 years of Gaokao, 3 years of simulations, fell out. The command center fell into a dead silence. Chen Guofeng's voice was hoarse. Simplified Chinese, Haishan City, Gaokao materials, combined with the same gravity and atmospheric composition. I think we no longer need to doubt. This isn't some alien planet, nor is it some demon realm. This is a parallel world's Earth. I looked at the screen. My heart was filled with mixed emotions. Although I had my suspicions, seeing the familiar traces of civilization with my own eyes, the impact still left me breathless. Wait, something's happening. Lei Long's voice suddenly became urgent. There's movement outside. The screen switched to Lei Long's POV. He was aiming his gun out the window. At the end of the street, a dark shadow was moving eerily along the corner of the wall, like a humanoid cheetah. It stopped abruptly, looking up toward the 3rd floor. It was a face with only the whites of its eyes, and a mouth torn open to the ears. Roar! An inhuman screech pierced the dead silence. Everyone, battle stations. Lei Long's voice was terrifyingly calm. Target locked. Permission to fire. All units, attention. Target spotted. Target characteristic analysis. The tactical analyst spoke rapidly, on all fours, moving at extreme speed. Skin is a decayed gray, with signs of advanced decomposition. Preliminary judgment. Unknown zombie virus infected entity. Looks like a hairless monkey. I couldn't help but comment, that's no monkey. Chen Guofeng pointed at the data on the screen. Based on skeletal structure analysis, it was originally human. It just underwent severe mutation. And look at its nails. The image zoomed in. The monster's nails were about 10 centimeters long, gleaming with a metallic luster. Roar! The monster downstairs lost patience. The muscles in its hind legs suddenly tightened. It's going to jump up, I exclaimed. We're on the 3rd floor. Bang! The shadow shot out like an arrow, launching itself from the ground, grabbing the 2nd floor security grill to leap again, lunging straight for the 3rd floor window. It's too fast. The analyst recorded the data. Suggest upgrading threat level to grade D. Facing the oncoming stench, Lei Long didn't even blink. The moment the monster jumped, he pulled the trigger. Bang! A 3-round burst. The first bullet shattered the monster's right shoulder joint. The second entered through its glabella. The corpse was flipped midair, crashing heavily onto the street below. Target neutralized. Lei Long reported calmly. Confirmed dead. Head is the weak point. Corpse is downstairs. Requesting instructions. Good. Zhao Jiangwo slapped the table. Seems this thing isn't as mystical as it seems. As long as the laws of physics still apply, our firearms are effective. I breathed a sigh of relief too. The worst would be if the monster monsters were invulnerable. Since bullets can kill them, things are much easier. All teams, attention. Chen Guofeng's voice held a hint of excitement. Collect samples immediately. This is the freshest first-hand data. I want to know its muscle density, skeletal strength, and exactly what those black nails are made of. Vanguard 2. Follow me downstairs to sample. The rest stay on the 3rd floor and maintain vigilance. Yes, sir. The two quickly descended, dragging the monster's corpse into the 1st floor lobby to begin sampling. Reporting to command. The soldier in charge of sampling reported. Preliminary tests show the specimen contains high concentrations of active virus. Additionally, its bone density is 15 times that of a normal human. Muscle fiber strength is twice that of a normal person. Those nails are primarily a mixture of keratin and metallic elements. The hardness is close to steel. Metallic elements? Chen Guofeng paused. How did it ingest metal? Perhaps it consumed some metal-containing mutated creature, or the virus itself can absorb metallic elements from the environment. Interesting. Chen Guofeng pushed up his glasses. If we can crack this biometallization mechanism, our bulletproof vests and tank armor materials might undergo a revolution. Good grief. He's already thinking about research. I was completely stunned. Is this how the national team thinks? Captain, new situation. Anomaly detected at 12 o'clock. The voice of a sentry came through the comms channel. Lei Long dashed to the window. He saw zombies at the end of the street. Attracted by the screams from earlier, they were gathering here. 12 o'clock direction. Estimated count over 50. Lei Long reported. They are approaching our position, requesting instructions. Zhao Jiangwo waved his hand. Trial contact is over. Now we need a stable bridgehead. Order. CBRN Regiment Engineer Squad. Enter immediately. Using the room where the portal is located. Establish Outpost 0. Tell the soldiers, don't save ammunition. In this world, truth only exists within firing range. All squads, attention, free fire. Lei Long's voice rang out. The chief said, don't save ammunition. Send them on their way. Copy that. Rat-tat-tat-tat. Rifles from the 3rd floor windows wove a net of death. In less than a minute, over 50 zombies were all turned into corpses. Targets neutralized. Very good. Zhao Jiangwo issued the second order. Engineer Squad 1. Enter. Establish Outpost 0 immediately. Yes, sir. A group of soldiers in special gear rushed through the portal. Their movements were dizzyingly fast. Airtight partitions deployed. Gap-filling operation began. Air circulation system docking. Power transmission lines laid. I felt like a mascot. I completely underestimated the power of the infrastructure maniacs. Within 5 minutes, the 4 walls of the dilapidated room were covered in silver white. Alloy plates completely. Soldiers used spray guns to apply polymer gel to the gaps. This gel hardens within 10 seconds of contact with air, forming a molecular level seal. Chen Guofeng explained it to me. Forget viral aerosols. Even nerve gas couldn't penetrate. Then, air purifiers. Air supply hoses were quickly installed. The interfaces used a magnetic quick connect. That's the emergency disconnect device. Chen Guofeng explained. Once an uncontrollable crisis occurs, or if you need to close the portal urgently, this interface can be detached with one click, and in 0.1 second, the pipe mouth automatically seals. No delays whatsoever. A chill ran down my spine. So thoughtful. Report. Airtightness test for Outpost 0 core area passed. Internal pressure adjusted to positive pressure mode. Report. Power system grid connection successful. Otherworld voltage stable. Report. Military broadband communication base station deployed. Full signal. In less than 20 minutes, a sci-fi modern outpost base was completed. Just like that. It's done. I watched in stunned silence. Infrastructure is complete. Zhao Jiangwo turned to me. Comrade Lin Han, get ready. We need you to go over there. Huh, I'm going too. You are the master of the portal. His gaze was firm. We need to test, if you yourself are in the other world, whether this portal can still remain stable. Moreover, some things, perhaps only you can sense. That one-sided slaughter gave me a great sense of security. Okay, I'll go. 10 minutes later, I put on a special lightweight protective suit, standing before the portal of light. My bedroom had become a temporary command center. Let's go. Zhao Jiangwo accompanied me personally, with 4 guards by his side. I nodded, stepped across the portal of light. The feel under my feet changed from wooden floor to anti-slip steel plate. A faint smell of ozone filled the air. Welcome to Outpost 0. Hello, Chief. Lei Long gave a military salute. Then he nodded at me. I looked around. Through the bulletproof glass observation window on the wall, I saw this apocalypse with my own eyes for the first time. The sky was leaden gray. The streets were a complete mess. Zombie corpses lay scattered, soaking in black, bloody water. What's the status of the door? Chen Guofeng's voice came through the communicator. Very stable, a technician answered. Preliminary tests show, regardless of which side of the door Comrade Lin Han is on, the two-way portal can remain stably open. Very good. Zhao Jiangwo walked to the observation window, pointing to a jewelry store on a distant street corner. The counters reflected in alluring gold. That's a jewelry store. My eyes widened instantly. Seems our luck is good. Zhao Jiangwo smiled. We hit the jackpot right away. Hard currency. In a world like this, gold is scrap metal. He patted my shoulder. But on Earth, it has been the most resilient currency for 100 years. With it, we can exchange it for more steel, more chips, more food. Comrade Lin Han, are you ready to be a porter? Early the next morning, Outpost Zero was buzzing with activity. The first squad was responsible for security. The second squad was responsible for clearing roadblocks. The third squad brought sacks and entrenching tools. Lei Long was deploying. Target, corner jewelry store. Distance, 150 meters. Threat level, low. I stood by the observation window holding hot soy milk. Zhao Jiangwo issued a ban. Until the surrounding area was cleared, I wasn't allowed to step a foot out of the outpost. I wholeheartedly supported that. Move out. A squad filed out one by one. Single shots from suppressed rifles became the only melody of the early morning. Through Lei Long's camera, I felt as if I were actually there. 5 minutes later, they arrived at the store. Security confirmed. Lei Long led the team inside. No zombies. Secure. Several tactical spotlights lit up. Holy crap. Looking at the screen, I couldn't help but swear. Gold necklaces, gold bracelets, gold rings, scattered like trash on the counters and floor. Lei Long picked up a gold bar, wiped it on his clothes, held it up to the camera. Consultant Lin, how's the quality of this one? On Earth, the current price of this stuff is over 600 per gram. This one bar alone is 60,000 yuan. I muttered to myself. Here, it's not even as precious as a pack of instant noodles. Naturally, Chen Guofeng's voice came through. The value of gold lies in its role as a social consensus, as a general equivalent. When social order collapses, this consensus vanishes along with it. The only hard currency in this world is survival resources. Water, food, medicine, weapons. But on our side, Chen Guofeng paused. It is still the blood of industry. It is foreign exchange reserves. It is the hard currency for buying advanced technology and strategic materials. Stop staring. Lei Long put away the gold bar. Get to work. The following scene opened my eyes. A soldier smashed the counter glass with his rifle, but then another person swung an entrenching tool, like shoveling sand, shoveling gold and silver jewelry along with the velvet trays, together into military woven bags. There's a safe here. Blow it open, Lei Long said indifferently. Yes, sir. Boom. A muffled thud. The heavy security door was blown away. They were 1 kilogram gold bricks. Inside were dozens of 1 kilogram gold bricks, and a pile of banknotes like scrap paper. Lei Long picked up a bill with a denomination of 1,000 credit points. It had a space elevator and no borderlines on a map of East Asia. It read, Central Bank of the East Asian Union. Space elevator. Regional unification. A storm of shocks surged in my heart. This was a highly technologically advanced civilization that might have even entered the interstellar era, but it was still destroyed. The soldiers stacked gold bars into transport crates like bricks. Those waste papers and electronic devices with chips were also ordered to be taken away by Lei Long. Report, Captain. Counting complete. Half an hour later, a soldier reported. Preliminary estimate. Total weight of gold is about 52 kilograms. Additionally, 15 kilograms of platinum, 52 kilograms of jewelry, including diamonds and emeralds, over 30 million. And this was just a small gold shop. I felt my breath stop. This isn't a wasteland. It's clearly a treasure trove. Retrieve the team. The soldiers carried bags and crates full of gold, heading back as if it were effortless. 20 minutes later, I finally touched that heavy gold bar. It felt surreal. Zhao Jiangwo looked at the spoils and smiled with satisfaction. With this seed money, the upcoming procurement plan can be carried out freely. He looked at me. Comrade Lin Han, on your record of merit, another mark has been added. Chief, it's nothing. I put down the gold bar. Compared to this, I'm more concerned about the images Captain Lei Long just sent back. I pointed to the distant CBD area outside the window. If we can find the bank vaults there, or the servers of the tech companies there, my gaze became sharp. That is where the real treasure lies. Zhao Jiangwo nodded appreciatively. No rush. One step at a time. Zhao Jiangwo turned to Lei Long. What's the drone reconnaissance status? Report. A technician switched the screen. The hummingbird drone just found at a distance of 2 kilometers away in the unfinished building area, a special heat source. A red dot on the screen was a particularly striking heat source. I leaned in. It's not just a heat source. The technician zoomed in. After spectral analysis, this should be a sunlight signal reflected by a mirror. It's very regular. Morse code. Zhao Jiangwo's gaze intensified. Translated. It's SOS, the technician answered. Repeated 3 short, 3 long, 3 short. The command room instantly fell silent. A survivor. Chen Gufeng pushed up his glasses. His tone was certain. Zhao Jiangwo remained silent for a moment, and gave a decisive order. Contact. We need a local guide. The contact plan has been formulated, Chen Gufeng said in front of the tactical map. The target is located at a distance from Outpost 0, in the unfinished building area 21 kilometers away. According to heat source analysis, 1. There is only one survivor, one person. I was a bit surprised. In a hellhole like that, how did one person survive? That's exactly what we need to find out, Zhao Jiangwo said in a deep voice. Those who can survive independently in the apocalypse are not simple characters. We need his survival experience, and even more so, his knowledge of this world. Operation Codename. Asked the way. Executing unit. 1st Reconnaissance Squad of the Special Ops Brigade. Equipped with a hummingbird drone swarm. Lei Long stood at attention and saluted. Mission will be accomplished. This operation. I can still only be a spectator. What if the other party is hostile? I couldn't help but ask. Courtesy first, then force, Zhao Jiangwo said calmly. We come with goodwill. But if they reject that goodwill, then we have enough firepower to make them calm down. In the afternoon, 2 hummingbird drones took off first. Lei Long followed closely with 4 scouts, advancing quickly and silently using the shadows of buildings. Stay concealed. Lei Long's voice came through the communicator. Signs of a brute discovered 300 meters ahead. On the screen, I saw a monster crouching on top of a bus. Minutes later, we arrived at the abandoned building area. The target is on the top floor of Building 3, Lei Long reported. In the drone footage, a frail woman was holding a broken makeup mirror, adjusting the angle toward the sun. She was wearing dirty work clothes, with a simple filter by her feet. In a broken bowl beside her was only a thin layer of turbid liquid. She had clearly reached the end of her rope. She was using the mirror to send signals, such a traditional way of calling for help. It seems communication equipment failed long ago. This shows she hasn't given up hope yet, Chen Gufeng analyzed calmly. As long as there's a will to survive, desire provides a basis for trade. How miserable. I looked at that bowl of turbid water, murmuring to myself, this humble struggle for survival pierced me deeply. Captain, should we make contact? The spotter asked. Zhao Jiangwo nodded. Execute Plan A, drop supplies, establish initial trust. Understood. The drone descended slowly. The woman on the roof immediately became alert. She grabbed a sharpened rebar, crouching behind a concrete pillar, staring intently at the drone. Don't be afraid. A gentle electronic synthesized voice came from the drone's speaker. We mean no harm. The woman didn't speak. She only gripped the rebar tighter. Clink. The drone dropped a transparent sealed bag, landing precisely in front of her. Inside was a compressed biscuit, a box of amoxicillin, and a 550 milliliters bottle of mineral water. In that gray world, that bottle of water was like a diamond. Gulp. I clearly saw her swallow. It was an instinctive craving that overrode all reason. This is just a greeting gift. The drone's voice spoke again. If you are willing to communicate, we need some intelligence in exchange. We can provide more food and water like this. The woman stared fixedly at the water bottle, her eyes reflecting a struggle. Finally, she cautiously grabbed the package. She tore open the packaging abruptly, unscrewed the cap, tilted her head back and took only a small sip, closing her eyes to savor it. 2 streaks of clear tears slid down her grime-covered cheeks. Contact successful. Lei Long's voice sounded in the channel. The fish has bitten the hook. I watched this scene with mixed emotions. Could a bottle of water break her down? For a drowning person, a straw is the whole world. Zhao Jiangwo looked at the screen, his gaze deep. And we hold the entire arc in our hands. As the sweet liquid slid into her stomach, the woman named Su Wan quickly calmed down. As a former virologist, rationality was her instinct. She guarded the remaining water, looked up, her eyes returning to scrutiny and evaluation. They have drones, pure water, and medicine. There is only one conclusion. This is a powerful force with a complete industrial production line. What do you want? Su Wan's voice was hoarse but clear. I have no supplies, only this life and what's in my head. We want intelligence. The voice from the drone remained gentle. About this city, about the zombies, and about the distribution of existing forces. The more detailed, the better. I can do that. Su Wan took a deep breath and pulled out a folded map. It was filled with markings in different colored notes. This is the information I've gathered over the past 3 months. She unfolded the map toward the camera. The red areas are heavily infected zones. Absolutely do not go there. There are ravagers there, and even spitters roaming. But most of it has already been scavenged clean. The black crosses are the control zones of the Black Steel Group. They occupy the industrial park in the north of the city. They have heavy weapons, and they are extremely xenophobic. They capture survivors to be slaves, or even for experiments. This girl is a talent for intelligence. Chen Gufeng immediately ordered the technician, screenshot and model it. Import this information into the tactical map. What else? I asked through the microphone. Besides these, is there any other special news? For example, anything strange? Su-Wan thought for a moment. A flicker of disgust and fear flashed in her eyes. Recently, the Black Steel Group has been frantically collecting the heads of the infected. Heads? I was stunned. To be precise, it's the things inside the heads, Su-Wan explained, taking out something that looked like a crystal. Crystal. Those 2 words hit me like a bolt of lightning. I subconsciously looked at Zhao Jiangwo and Chen Gufeng. Chen Gufeng suddenly lunged toward the microphone and asked rapidly, "What color is that crystal? Does it glow?" Su-Wan answered, "Most are grayish-white, only the size of a fingernail. But I've seen them fight over a red crystal, not hesitating to sacrifice an entire squad." Crystal core. Chen Gufeng took a deep breath, his voice trembling with excitement. "Chief, if I'm not mistaken, this could be a completely new high-energy substance. Ask her if she knows its specific use." Zhao Jiangwo said in a deep voice. "I know a bit," Su-Wan said. "I heard the Black Steel people call it blood of God. They believe it can give people power, but the side effects are extreme. Direct use leads to death or mutation. Give people power." My heart began to race. To upgrade the dual world gate, some kind of special energy is definitely needed. Could it be this? Comrade Lin Han, Zhao Jiangwo suddenly spoke. "It seems we need to have more in-depth contact with this survivor." He looked at the woman on the screen. A hint of admiration flashed in his eyes. "Bring her back," Zhao Jiangwo ordered. "We need her. Your intelligence is very valuable." The drone's voice came through again. "In return, we can provide you with sanctuary. If you are willing, we can take you to a safe place. There is clean water there, hot food, no zombies, and no Black Steel Group." Su-Wan was stunned. In this hell, does such a place really exist? When she looked down at the bottled water in her hand, the words of refusal could no longer be spoken. Su-Wan bit her lip, her voice trembling. "I'm willing." "Very well." The drone slowly ascended. "Stay where you are, do not move. Our pickup team is just downstairs. Also, one more question," the voice suddenly asked. "What is your profession?" Su-Wan hesitated for a moment, straightened her back, emitting a unique aura. "My name is Su-Wan, Haishan Biotechnology Research Institute, director of the 3rd laboratory. The Z-virus was discovered by us there." When Su-Wan revealed her identity, a brief silence fell over the command center. "We didn't just pick up a survivor, but a living knowledge base. Escort her back to the outpost immediately." Zhao Jiangwo decided instantly. "Raise the security level to the highest. Lei Long, if you encounter resistance, all means are permitted." Understood. 15 minutes later, Su-Wan was brought into Outpost 0. As she stepped through the airtight door and saw the sci-fi silver-white space, she froze completely. This isn't a survivor camp. It's more like a national laboratory from before the catastrophe. "Welcome, Dr. Su." I smiled and reached out my hand to her. "I am Lin Han." I introduced myself. "This place is, well, you can think of it as a special operations base." "I am Su-Wan," she said softly, but her eyes involuntarily drifted to the table, to the steaming plate of self-heating rice. "Hungry, right?" I pushed the rice toward her. Eat first, then we'll talk." Su-Wan practically lunged forward, shoveling mouthfuls of rice into her mouth. The steaming rice was so hot it brought tears to her eyes, but she forced herself to swallow it along with the tears. I watched the scene, feeling a twinge of heartache. 10 minutes later, the food was gone in a flash. "Thank you?" Her eyes became clear again, even gaining a hint of sharpness. "Now, we can discuss the trade. No rush." Chen Gufeng walked over, holding a sealed bag in his hand. Inside was a grayish-white crystal, exactly what Lei Long had dug out of the berserker's head. "Dr. Su, is this the crystal core you mentioned?" Su-Wan took a look. Her pupils contracted slightly. "Yes, this is the lowest grade crystal core, usually found inside grade 1 mutants." "What exactly is it?" Chen Gufeng stared at her intently. "We call it a high-energy biological aggregate." Su-Wan entered professional mode. "The Z-virus reorganizes the biological energy metabolism system, concentrating energy in the brain to form this crystal. To put it simply, it's the mutant's battery." Something clicked in my mind. That's right, Su-Wan continued. People from the Black Steel group found that consuming these cores directly has a very small chance of providing enhancement, but the mortality rate is as high as 99%. Energy. My entire attention was on that word. I subconsciously reached out, touching the crystal core through the sealed bag. The moment my fingertip touched it, a faint ringing suddenly echoed in my mind. Immediately after, a semi-transparent stream of information appeared on my retina. Detectable absorbable energy source. Grade 1 biological crystal core. Energy purity, equivalent to 12 energy points. Contains a large amount of impurities. Absorb. Current dual world gate level. LV1. Upgrade progress 0. Upgrade effect. Expand spatial gate to 5 by 5 meters. Unlock matter transmission channel. Allow large vehicles to pass. I was stunned. Then, wild joy surged in my heart. As expected, this is the key to upgrading. The point of handing it over to the state is to use the state's power to hunt mutated creatures and obtain crystal cores. Upgrade the dual world gate. A perfect closed loop. Comrade Lin Han. What's wrong? Chen Gufeng noticed my strange behavior. I snapped back to reality, suppressing extreme excitement, realizing this wasn't the place to talk. Chief, I have an important report. I gestured to Zhao Jiangwo, pointing to the encrypted communication room next door. Regarding the use of this crystal core, airtight door closes. Speak. Zhao Jiangwo looked at me. Chief, I know what this thing is for. I took a deep breath. It can charge the gate. Charge? Yes. I pointed toward the light gate. The moment I touched it, I received feedback. This thing can provide the energy needed to upgrade the dual world gate. As long as there are enough of them, I can expand the gate. Even, let tanks drive through. That one sentence made the entire command center erupt instantly. How many are needed? Zhao Jiangwo asked directly. If it's this kind of low-grade core, about 100 are needed. I estimated 100 cores. Zhao Jiangwo turned to look at the tactical map. His gaze fell on a marked, red zombie tide gathering point. His eyes became incredibly sharp. Lei Long. Present. Notify the Special Operations Brigade. All assemble. Zhao Jiangwo pointed to the red dot on the map. A chilling tone. Surround this area. Since the monsters contain the energy we need, then they are no longer threats, but walking ore deposits. From now on, we are going to start mining. After issuing the mining order, Zhao Jiangwo's gaze returned to the real-time image of Su-Wan on the screen. Since Dr. Su's identity has been confirmed, I suggest transferring her to the P4 lab immediately, Chen Gufeng said. No, Zhao Jiangwo refused flatly. Until the virus's incubation period and mutation risks are fully ruled out, she absolutely cannot cross that door. Behind us are 1.4 billion people. This risk we cannot afford to take. He turned and ordered. Order the engineer company to speed up. Complete the full lockdown of Outpost 0 as soon as possible. Build next to the light gate in room 301. A fully enclosed medical isolation pod. Since she cannot come over for now, then we will bring civilization to her. After a full day of cleanup by the Special Ops Brigade, Building 4 and its surroundings have been cleared. Engineers are sealing all windows with thick steel plates. My voice came through the loudspeaker. Dr. Su, I assume you've realized we come from another world. For epidemic prevention and safety reasons, we cannot invite you through the light gate for now, but in the adjacent room 301 medical pod, you will be absolutely safe. Su-Wan smiled bitterly. She understood she was a potential source of infection. I understand. Su-Wan took a deep breath. As long as I can have a sip of clean water, it doesn't matter where. When she entered the modified medical pod 0 in room 301, she was still shocked by the level of professionalism here. A silver-white negative pressure isolation tent, various brand new medical instruments with blinking indicator lights, ECG monitor, blood gas analyzer, spiral CT. Her fingers brushed over the machine casings. Although they looked a bit bulky, but they were brand new and perfectly maintained. Two female military doctors guided her into the shower. Warm purified water poured down. Su-Wan stood stiffly under the shower, as if to wash away all the marks left by 12 years of apocalypse. Decontamination finished. Changing into a brand new patient gown, Su-Wan lay on the soft medical bed. Then, the transfer window of the isolation pod opened. I stood outside the window in lightweight protective gear, holding a food tray. Dr. Su, General Bao specifically instructed, your stomach hasn't had oily food for too long. The first meals shouldn't be too heavy. This is a special nutritional meal. I smiled through the glass. I brought it to you personally. Consider it. Greetings from a fellow countryman. The lid was lifted. A bowl of millet porridge, a plate of vegetables, and 2 boiled eggs, and a small bowl of bright red braised pork. Su-won stared intently at the bowl of meat. Across 12 years of time, this familiar aroma of meat hit her chest like a heavy hammer. Is this for me? Su-won's voice trembled violently. Eat. Plenty for you, I said gently. Su-won tremblingly picked up the spoon, put a piece of meat into her mouth. At that moment, the string she had kept taut snapped. She covered her mouth. From suppressed sobbing to loud wailing, she cried, while desperately stuffing food into her mouth. Tears fell into the porridge, swallowed along with the braised pork. She was just an ordinary girl who had struggled in hell for 12 years, and finally tasted the flavors of normal life. I stood quietly outside the window, silently handing over a pack of tissues. After a long time, Su-won finished all the food. She wiped away her tears. When she looked up again, the fragility in her eyes had vanished, replaced by an unprecedented determination. Mr. Lin Han. Su-won looked at me, her voice raspy but resolute. I know what you are worried about. I am a virologist. I know the horror of the Z-virus better than you do. I will stay here and cooperate with all your research. I will give you everything in my head regarding this world. She glanced toward the wall, as if she could see the light gate next door. I have only one request. If one day, confirm that I am no longer a danger, please let me go over there and see the sun. Inside the command vehicle, Zhao Jiangwo stared at the monitor in silence for a long time. Tell her, that day will come. Order the engineer company to work in 24-hour shifts. Complete the overall airtight renovation of Building 4 within 3 days. I want our soldiers in this building to be able to take off their gas masks and breathe. The construction of Outpost 0 is in full swing. Inside Medical Pod 301, a cross-world scientific dialogue has officially begun. This is all the information we currently have on what you call the Z-virus. Chen Guofeng's voice came through the communicator. Su-won looked at the data on the screen, frowning slightly. This data is too superficial. The Z-virus is more like a nanoscale biomechanical entity. Biomechanical entity. Chen Guofeng frowned deeply. That is its disguise, Su-won explained. It can not only rewrite DNA, but also reorganize the host's energy metabolism system. That's why zombies can survive without eating. High-level mutants can release energy attacks, because they all have crystal cores in their bodies. Hearing crystal core, I perked up, holding the one I dug out from the head of the brute. Dr. Su, since you are a virus expert, you should know the exact composition of this thing, right? I asked. I only understand a part of it. Su-won's expression was solemn. That one is a first-level crystal core with many impurities. Its main component is an unknown biological piezoelectric ceramic. What use is this thing to us? I pressed further. Su-won was silent for a moment, seemingly hesitating. In my world, some people try to inject crystal core extract to strengthen themselves, but my father always opposed it, because the mortality rate is extremely high. Even if they survive, they face a very high risk of mutation. This thing is dangerous. Very dangerous. I smiled. Don't worry. We aren't using its biological enhancement function, but its physical properties. As I spoke, I picked up the sealed bag and walked to the huge floor-to-ceiling bulletproof glass. Opposite the glass was that deep blue portal. Dr. Su, since you don't know its energy level either, then let's verify it. What are you doing? Su-won was somewhat confused. I didn't answer. Taking a deep breath, I pressed my hand against the glass, staring intently at the crystal core in my hand. System, absorb, I whispered in my mind. The next second, Su-won was surprised to find the grayish-white crystal core in my hand actually began to glow. Strands of pale blue light overflowed from the crystal core, penetrating the sealed bag and the bulletproof glass, going straight into the portal. The vortex of the light gate suddenly accelerated its rotation. A low hum echoed throughout the entire floor. The halos surged instantly. What is the principle behind this? Su-won's eyes widened, watching this scene in disbelief. By that door, it was eaten. I let go. Only a small pinch of grayish-white powder remained in the sealed bag. At the same time, a long-awaited message popped up in my mind. Successfully absorbed first-order biological crystal core X1. Obtained 12 energy points. Current upgrade progress 12. Just as I thought. I clenched my fist. An uncontrollable smile played on my lips. Dr. Su. I turned around, looking at the stunned Su-won. This is the true use of this thing for us. It's not a poison. It's a key. A key. Su-won murmured to herself. Exactly. I pointed to the light gate. This door is hungry, and these crystal cores are its food. As long as we feed it enough, it can become even larger, stronger, and more stable. At this moment, whether it was Chen Guofeng on the other side of the screen, or Zhao Jiangwo in the command vehicle, both were deeply shocked by this scene. Crystal cores equals energy. Zombies equals mobile or packs. Once this equation is established, the entire strategic situation reverses instantly. Zombies were once a nightmare in my eyes. Now they've become a kind of precious resource. Zhao Jiangwo's voice came through the communicator. Comrade Lin Han, are you sure only 100 of these level 1 crystal cores are needed to complete the first stage of the upgrade? I'm sure. I look at the progress bar in my mind, and I have a feeling the upgraded dual world gate will definitely give us a huge surprise. Good. Zhao Jiangwo slammed the table. Pass on my orders. All personnel of the Special Operations Brigade enter level 1 combat readiness. The engineer company must immediately clear a path, an armored corridor leading to the light gate. Since the zombies over there have the energy we need in their heads, then we'll go and dig them out. In a medical pod in another world, Su-won was watching all of this. People in her world see zombies as the Grim Reaper, but we treat them as resources. Is this the gap between civilizations? She murmured to herself. I can feel it. She believes our intervention will completely change the fate of her wasteland. Not salvation, but conquest. Level 1 combat readiness. The alarm echoed through both worlds. Squads of soldiers rushed out of the light gate, quickly deploying defensive formations on the street. Attention. This is not a drill. Everyone check the airtightness of your gas masks. Activate the IFF system. Heavy weapons teams in position. Lei Long stood on the rooftop with binoculars, his gaze cold and stern. 2 heavy machine guns behind him were already set up, muzzles aimed at the end of the street. Reporting to command. The lure team is in position. Begin operation. Zhao Jiangwo's voice was steady and firm. 500 meters away from the outpost, 2 drones hovered in the air, with loudspeakers hanging below. ZZZZT, a song that had been extinct in this wasteland for 12 years, suddenly blasted out. The deafening music instantly shattered the silence of the apocalypse. Zombies hiding everywhere, like hornets whose nest had been poked, instantly erupted. Roar! Amidst countless roars, densely packed figures converged into a torrent, chasing after those 2 drones. The prey has taken the bait. The reconnaissance company commander operated the drones, guiding the zombie tide toward us. All units attention. Targets entering firing range. Distance 500 meters. 300 meters. Lei Long looked at the zombie tide surging below. The number was at least 500. Among them were several extremely fast Ravagers. 50 meters. But today they are facing a modernized army. Fire! The order was given. Rat-tat-tat-tat-tat. The 2 heavy machine guns on the roof roared first. 12.7 millimeters. Bullets like whips of fire, instantly tearing the foremost zombies to shreds. Then dozens of automatic rifles opened fire simultaneously. Crossfire covered the entire street. This wasn't a battle. This was an industrialized slaughter. Those zombies were as fragile as paper, falling in heaps before they could even reach the line. Ravager spotted in Sector 3, requesting sniper support. Copy that. A sniper on the rooftop calmly pulled the trigger. Su-won had confirmed that these mutants called Ravagers have thick skin, making them hard to kill with ordinary rifle rounds. Bang! A Ravager attempting to leap forward. Its head exploded like a watermelon. In less than 10 minutes, the gunfire gradually thinned. The street returned to silence, leaving only severed limbs and a pungent stench of decay. Just like that. It's over? Su-won watched the battle through the monitors, stunned. She had seen hopeless zombie tides, but before these soldiers, they were so utterly fragile. This is the power of firepower. I walked up beside her with a hint of pride. Dr. Su, welcome to the world of truth within cannon range. Clear the battlefield. Lei Long's voice sounded again. Combat engineers, move in. CBRN company, provide cover. Make sure to dig them out before the crystal core energy dissipates. Dozens of soldiers in hazmat suits rushed out, enduring the stench. There are some here too, Captain. Found a red one. Looks like a level 2 crystal core. Reports of success kept coming through the walkie-talkie. I stood before the light gate, watching bags of blood-stained crystal cores being brought back. The system notification in my mind kept ringing. Absorbing level 1 crystal core X1. Energy plus 12. Absorbing level 1 crystal core X1. Energy plus 11. Absorbing level 2 crystal core X1. Energy plus 150. The upgrade progress bar was rising rapidly. Finally, as the last bag of crystal cores was sent through through the light gate. Ding. Energy charging complete. Current progress 1000. Dual world gate upgraded to LV2. Space gate size expanded to 5 by 5 meters. Adjustable. New feature unlocked. Matter transmission channel. Stable state. New permission unlocked. Bidirectional large vehicle passage permit. New permission unlocked. Spatial anchor migration. Boom. The original circular light gate vortex suddenly erupted with a dazzling blue light. After the light faded, what appeared before me was a rectangular light screen, with straight edges stable as a mirror, like a stargate, embedded in the bedroom wall. But the room was too small. The light screen pressed against the ceiling and floor, almost filling the entire wall. Current space limitation detected. Light gate size has been automatically adapted. Maximum expandable size 5 by 5 meters. Host can adjust the gate size at any time via thought. I looked at the giant wall of light before me. A smile curled on my lips. I turned around and spoke into the communicator. Chief, the gate is open, and it's even larger than we expected. However, I pointed to the ceiling. This temple is too small for such a big Buddha. We need to find it a new home. A new home. On the other end of the communicator, Zhao Jiangwo looked at the light gate on the screen. A sharp glint flashed in his eyes. You mean, the light gate can now be moved? Yes, Chief, I nodded, although not completely at will, but I can move it to any nearby wall. As long as the wall is large enough, it can fully expand. Good. Zhao Jiangwo stood up abruptly. Notify the engineering department. Activate immediately. Plan B, the so-called Plan B, was a preset second stage plan. The engineering units had secretly taken over the air raid shelters beneath the residential area and converted them into an underground fortress. On the other world side, Outpost 0, all personnel, attention, prepared to evacuate room 302. After Lei Long received the order, he began organizing the dismantling of the defenses. Where are we moving to? Su Wan asked in confusion. The defense system here has just taken shape. Isn't it a waste to give it up now? Not a waste. I smiled at her through the light screen. Because where we're going is a real fortress. Moreover, I gave a mysterious smile. We need to make way for some big guys. Lei Long, take Dr. Su to the underground parking lot to assemble. We'll meet there. Yes, sir. The migration unfolded rapidly. On the reality side, a huge concrete wall was cleared in the underground base. On the other world side, the combat engineers also, at the underground parking entrance, cleared an open area. Coordinates between the two worlds calibrated. Wall structure strength test passed. Otherworld personnel have evacuated to the safe zone. Migration can begin. Inside room 302, I looked around the room. With a single thought, the rectangular light screen shrank instantly, turning into a streak of light that entered my brow. Let's go. I turned and left, heading straight for the underground shelter entrance under escort. 10 minutes later, reality side, underground civil defense project. I stood before a massive concrete wall. Behind me were Zhao Jiangwo and countless researchers. I took a deep breath, pressed my palm against the wall, and expanded it. A deep blue light spread, instantly covering the entire wall. 5 meters high, 5 meters wide. The square light screen was as smooth as a mirror. Standing before it, a person seemed so small. This is the LV2 form of the dual world gate. Zhao Jiangwo stood on the command platform, filled with excitement. Chief, channel testing complete. The other side is the entrance to Jinxiu Garden's underground parking lot. The space is open. No obstructions. Very good. Zhao Jiangwo picked up the red command phone. This is Zhao Jiangwo. Order. Steel torrent. Enter the field. Rumble. The ground began to shake. The first to appear was a Type 99A main battle tank. The 55-ton King of Land drove into the hall with pride. That long 125mm smoothbore gun exuded a suffocating sense of pressure. Behind it came the second, then the third. An entire tank company, followed by infantry fighting vehicles and self-propelled artillery, and heavy military trucks loaded with supplies. This is the power of the state. A true dimensional strike. Target. Otherworld Base 0. Move out. The first Type 99A tank, with unstoppable momentum, slowly drove toward the light gate. The light screen rippled. The massive tank body slowly merged into it. Otherworld side. The dim entrance of the underground parking lot was suddenly illuminated by 2 beams of headlights, accompanied by a massive roar. The Type 99A tank, like a steel beast, burst out from the light gate on the wall. Then, the second one, the third one, a fully mechanized heavy armored unit, miraculously appeared amidst the apocalyptic ruins. Su Wan stood in the corner, completely frozen in shock. She knew we were strong, but she didn't expect us to be this strong. Tanks, and topped technological main battle tanks. Roar. A few zombie snarls echoed from the depths of the parking lot. Zombies stumbled out, Among them was a massive brute. The leading Type 99A tank didn't even turn its turret. It simply maintained speed and crushed right over them. Crack, squish. A spine-chilling sound of bones shattering rang out. Whether it was an ordinary zombie or that brute, before the 55-ton steel body, there was no difference. Instantly turned into a pile of meat pulp. This is the steel torrent. This is what you call crushing. I stood atop an armored vehicle and said to Su-Wan, who hadn't recovered yet, Dr. Su, let's reintroduce ourselves. This is the Otherworld Development Office, Base Zero. I pointed to the endless stream of armored vehicles behind me, a slight smile on my lips. And this is just the beginning. The roaring engines attracted zombies within a 2-kilometer radius. They howled, like a gray-black tide, rushing frantically toward the underground parking lot entrance. Report. Radar has detected a large number of heat signature biological reactions approaching. Number exceeds 3,000, and still increasing. Inside the command center, the communications officer's voice was urgent but calm. Zhao Jiangwo didn't even blink. He calmly gave the order. Saves us from having to search building by building. Let them get a bit closer. Order the armored detachment. Block the entrance. Fire at will. Underground parking lot entrance. 3 Type 99A main battle tanks lined up, blocking the entrance like a great wall of steel. Behind them were infantry fighting vehicles and heavy machine gun positions. Roar. The first wave of the zombie tide charged forward roaring. A few extremely fast stalkers leaped high, attempting a surprise attack from above. Humph. The commander of the first 99A tank watched the scene coldly. Rat-tat-tat-tat-tat. The 12.7mm anti-aircraft machine gun on top of the tank roared first, followed by the 30mm autocannon, and heavy machine guns opened fire simultaneously. Dense tracer rounds wove a net of death. Those hunters leaping in midair were instantly blasted into pieces. The front row of zombies fell like wheat being harvested. The back row continued charging, stepping over the corpses of their own, and then continued to be shredded. 30mm autocannon explosive shells burst in the center of the horde. Every shot kicked up a storm of blood and gore. Not a single zombie could get within 20 meters of the ramp. This wasn't a battle. It was a one-sided slaughter. 40 minutes later, the gunfire gradually subsided. On the slope outside the entrance, a 2-meter-high mountain of corpses had piled up. Several engineering loaders roared out, pushing the bodies aside like trash. Then, a recovery team in hazmat suits entered, skillfully searching for crystal nuclei. Tier 1 crystal nucleus, confirmed. Tier 1 crystal nucleus, confirmed. Tier 2 crystal nucleus. This brute has a red one in its head. A team member excitedly held up a blood-red crystal. That unlucky brute. Su-Wan stood on the roof of the command vehicle, staring blankly at all of this. The zombie tides in her memory meant death and despair. But today, those terrifying monsters were like raw materials on an assembly line, efficiently slaughtered, cleared, recovered. Is this the power of the state? She murmured to herself. This is just the beginning. I appeared beside her at some point, handing her a bottle of ice-cold Coke. When the Air Force arrives later, or when missiles clear the ground, you'll know what true fire coverage means. Su-Wan took the Coke, feeling a sense of surreal disorientation. Instead of watching the spectacle, Dr. Su, over there is your battlefield. I pointed not far away. Engineers were building at an incredible speed, a cluster of white modular container buildings. That is, Su-Wan looked in the direction I pointed. Her eyes instantly widened. P3 level mobile biological laboratory, I said with a smile. We brought in a complete set of field modular containers, a hospital and the highest level mobile lab, centrifuges, electron microscopes, gene sequencers. Every piece of top-tier equipment you can think of has been brought for you. Su-Wan's hands trembled slightly. She knew the value of these things all too well. Electricity, water, consumables, security guarantees. For a scientist, it's paradise. With the equipment, I can perform deep analysis on these crystal nuclei. The crude methods used by the Black Steel Group are not only dangerous but also extremely inefficient. Give me 3 days. Combined with the data I brought, I will definitely figure out its energy composition and find a truly safe way to utilize it. Light rekindled in Su-Wan's eyes. This is true scientific research. Good. I nodded, watching the steel torrent cleaning the battlefield in the distance. Several high-power searchlights lit up on the building roof, piercing the 12 years of darkness in Haishan City, announcing the return of human civilization. It's safe safe here now. I took a deep breath. From today onwards, a 2-kilometer radius centered on this building will be our absolute territory. Night fell. Several high-power searchlights pierced the darkness of Haishan City. Base Zero officially took root in the apocalypse. Haishan City, the third water purification plant. This is the largest den of luxury and evil on the Wasteland. Electric wires run along the high walls. Heavy machine guns and searchlights are mounted on the watchtowers. Outside the walls is the slum. Thousands of survivors are huddled together like livestock, working for the lords of the inner city, just for a bowl of muddy water and half a piece of moldy protein block. The inner city, separated by a wall, is another world. Inside a luxurious office, Lee Sin is elegantly slicing luncheon meat on a plate. As the intelligence chief of the Black Steel Group, he enjoys the top-tier treatment in the apocalypse. The texture of this batch of luncheon meat isn't as good as the last. Lee Sin frowned. Next time, tell the collection team to search the basements of the wealthy district. There should still be some unexpired imported goods there. Yes, Brotherson. The beautiful secretary beside him replied tremblingly. Knock, knock, knock. A hurried knocking sounded. Lee Sen's gaze instantly turned cold. Didn't I say not to disturb me while I'm eating? Sin. Brotherson. Something big happened. A subordinate rushed in. His expression was terrified. What's the panic? Lee Sin glanced at him with dissatisfaction. It's the Wild Wolf Gang. Those mad dogs are harassing the water trucks again. Or the Relief Society? Are those charlatans doing some collective sacrifice again? Neither. The subordinate swallowed hard, pointing outside the window. You'd better see for yourself. Lee Sin snorted coldly, walked to the window, abruptly pulled open the curtains. The next second, the wine glass in his hand smashed onto the floor with a crash. His pupils suddenly contracted, staring intently out the window. About 5 kilometers southeast of the water purification plant, a blinding white pillar of light shot straight into the sky. In these ink-black ruins, it looked so dazzling, so brazen. That's Jinshio Garden near Haishan First Middle School. Lee Sin narrowed his eyes. Isn't that a heavily infested zombie area? Who dares to turn on the lights there? It's not just lights, the subordinate reported in a trembling voice. Half an hour ago, dense explosions suddenly came from there, and the sound of gunfire and artillery was loud. How loud? Like an army entering the city. Boom. A dull explosion echoed clearly, making the bulletproof glass buzz. Lee Sen's expression changed completely. As a veteran, he was all too familiar with this sound. This is a 30mm high explosive shell. He muttered in disbelief. This rate of fire, this rhythm. It's the autocannon of a 04A infantry fighting vehicle, and that's the sound of a 12.7mm anti-aircraft machine gun. In this apocalypse where even rifle bullets are hard currency, who would possess such organized heavy firepower? Could it be remnants of the federal government? Impossible. Lee Sin immediately dismissed the thought. The Haishan military district was swallowed by the zombie tide 8 years ago. I've personally confirmed it. Brotherson, could the Wild Wolf Gang have found a pre-war armory? Lee Sin sneered. That brute Lehu. Even if you gave him a cannon, he'd only use it as a hammer. And even if he had a cannon, he wouldn't have enough shells to waste like this. He pointed at the pillar of light and the continuous gunfire. His fingers were trembling slightly. Listen to that noise. They've been firing for nearly an hour. That's saturation fire. The ammunition fired every second is enough for us to buy 100 slaves. Even at our peak, we wouldn't dare be so wasteful. After the fear came a deep greed. A wolf-like glint flashed in Lee Sen's eyes. Whoever is there, it means a massive treasure. Could be an armory, could be an energy facility, or even a massive amount of crystal cores. Pass my order. Lee Sin stopped walking, returning to his usual coldness, but the fanaticism in his eyes couldn't be hidden. Deploy the Night Owl squad. The subordinate shuddered. Brotherson wants to use Night Owl. They are our most elite. Since the other side has heavy firepower, sending ordinary people is suicide. Lee Sin said coldly. Let Night Owl lead the team. Bring the best equipment. Night vision goggles, silencers, and those few cherished Gauss rifles. He paused, took out a vial glowing with a pale blue light from the drawer and threw it to the subordinate. Tell Night Owl, if they encounter a tough nut to crack, he is permitted to use serum number 2. The subordinate hurriedly caught the serum. His hands were shaking. That's the frenzy serum that can significantly increase the user's strength for a short time, but the side effects are extreme. There is only one mission. Find out exactly who the other side is. Lee Sin walked to the window, looking at that pillar of light, made a throat-slitting gesture. If it's a powerful force passing through, we'll play the coward and negotiate a partnership. If it's just some lucky fat sheep, a cruel smile curled on the corner of his mouth, then we'll devour them skin and bone. Every single bullet there, and every crystal core belongs to black steel. Meanwhile, 2 kilometers away from Jishio Garden, the lair of the Wild Wolf Gang, it looked more like a wild wasteland tribe. On the walls made of scrapped cars, hung the skulls of mutant beasts. At this moment, the camp was deathly silent. Everyone gathered on the walls, staring in shock at the distant flames. The burly Lei who stood at the highest point, holding a chipped monocular telescope, staring intently in that direction. "Boss, should we go join the fun?" A lackey approached, his eyes gleaming with greed. "Judging by the noise, it must be a huge prize. Those people have been fighting for so long. They must be at the end of their rope. Should we scavenge after they finish off the zombies? We might even snag a few good guns." Slap! Lei who backhanded the lackey with a loud slap. "I think you want to collect your own ashes." He lowered the telescope and wiped the cold sweat from his forehead. "Are you fucking deaf? Those are tanks. Actual, legitimate track tanks. And that thumping sound, that's the autocannon of an IFV. Lei who grabbed the lackey by the collar and roared. "Back when I was running the streets, I've seen it all. That rapid-fire sound. One burst could flatten this shitty camp of ours. You want to scavenge with a few crappy nail guns? One shell from them, and you won't even be dust." He let go, forcing himself to calm down. As a local powerhouse, the reason he survived until now was an intuition sharper than a mutant rat's. When that pillar of light lit up, he felt an unprecedented chill. It was the helplessness of facing a higher dimension of power. Past the order, "Everyone stay put in the nest. Put out all the campfires. If anyone dares to go near there, without the other side even lifting a finger, I'll skin them alive first. Also, pull back the outer sentries by 200 meters. Don't let the gods over there think we're trying to stir trouble." The lackeys looked at their usually arrogant boss acting like this, and were all terrified into silence. Lei who looked at the sky-piercing pillar of light, his eyes full of awe and apprehension. "The tide has turned," he muttered to himself. "Haishan City is probably about to change owners. From now on, in this territory, the loudest voice won't be black steel, nor will it be us, but those ruthless people over there." Night, black as ink, the wind howled, mixed with the roars of distant mutant beasts. A dark shadow leapt from the overpass like a ghost. Then a second, a third, 5 people in total. They wore black beast-hide combat suits, with gas masks on their faces. Red night vision goggles flickered with an eerie light in the dark. These were the sharpest fangs of the Black Steel group. The Night Owl squad. Captain Night Owl knelt on one knee, making a signal to stop. He glanced at his tactical watch. The hands pointed to 2 a.m. Jishio Garden is just ahead. Night Owl whispered through his throat mic. "Strong light source in the target area. Stay concealed." "Captain, the shelling just stopped." The voice of the assaulter, Mad Dog, came through the headset. "Looks like those fat sheep are done fighting, and are now exhausted, sleeping in their nests. Don't be careless." Night Owl reminded him coldly. "Anyone capable of making that much noise is definitely no ordinary survivor." The boss said the mission this time is reconnaissance, primarily to gather intelligence, if their defenses are lax. He touched the poison dagger at his waist, a cold glint flashing in his eyes. "Then we'll capture a prisoner to take back." Night Owl was confident. As a Tier 1 speed enhancer, his neural reaction speed was 3 times that of a normal person. In his view, no matter what heavy firepower the enemy possessed, in a nighttime street fight, it's still the world of these evolved ones. Tanks, cannons, are just sitting ducks in the ruins. "Move." 5 dark shadows instantly dispersed, using cover, creeping toward the pillar of light. However, he didn't know, 500 meters above their heads, an invisible pair of eyes was staring intently at them. TSK. Their movements are quite professional. Base 0 Command Center. I held a bucket of instant noodles, slurping them, while watching the giant HD display screen before me. On the screen was a clear gray-white thermal image. 5 distinct human silhouettes were infiltrating. Beside the image, real-time data was even labeled. Target A leader, heart rate 85, body temperature 37 degrees Celsius, holding a high hardness alloy blade, suspected biochemical agent at the waist. Target B, assaulter, heart rate 92, carrying a short-barreled gunpowder weapon, abnormal muscle density, suspected strength enhancer. So this is the so-called Night Owl. Lei Long curled his lip in disdain. This level of stealth wouldn't even pass the first round of our special ops selection. Look at the one on the left, sticking his butt up so high. Is he afraid the sniper might miss? For post-apocalyptic survivors, it's already quite good. Zhao Jiangwo held his teacup. his tone flat. They know how to use the terrain, know how to spread their formation, and are equipped with anti-thermal leather clothes. Unfortunately, their equipment philosophy is still stuck 20 years ago. He pointed to a small red dot on the screen. Our hummingbird microdrone is hovering 100 meters above their heads. They haven't noticed it at all. This is the generation gap. That so-called anti-thermal animal hide, in front of military-grade multispectral detection radar, is like a layer of transparent stockings. Chief, should we take them out? Lei Long asked for instructions. The sniper team has already locked onto all targets, with one order. Their heads will burst open within 3 seconds. Don't rush. I swallowed the beef in my mouth. Since the Black Steel Group sent people to deliver a gift, why should we turn them away? Didn't Su-Wan say she lacked test subjects? These evolved ones are perfect to send her for slicing and study. Ah no, for cooperative research. Zhao Jiangwo nodded. Capture them alive. Since we want to establish authority, let them see what modern warfare is. Order. Special Ops Team 1. Close the net. At this moment, Night Owl suddenly felt an inexplicable chill. It felt as if he were being watched by some terrifying, prehistoric beast. As an evolved one, this intuition had saved his life countless times. Night Owl abruptly stopped, and instantly ducked under the chassis of an abandoned bus. What's wrong, Captain? Something's not right. Night Owl's voice was slightly dry. It's too quiet. Yes, too quiet. They had already infiltrated to less than 300 meters from the light source. But there was nothing here. A deathly silence. Captain, look over there. The assaulter suddenly exclaimed. Night Owl looked in the direction he pointed, and his pupils suddenly contracted. In the open ground 100 meters ahead, several behemoths were parked. Those were tanks, but not the crude tanks the Black Steel Group had modified from bulldozers. Instead, they were real killing machines, with streamlined turrets and long gun barrels. Even while dormant, that overwhelming aura of steel made Night Owl feel suffocated. Those were main battle tanks. Night Owl's eyes widened. They were definitely not the Black Steel Group's crude patchwork tanks. These were real war machines. Not good. The turret is moving. Night Owl realized in horror that the tank's turret had silently turned toward them. The black muzzle instantly locked onto them. Meanwhile, a strong sense of crisis surged in his heart. It's too quiet. This means the enemy discovered them long ago. Retreat! Retreat, now! Night Owl almost roared these words. It's a trap! Get out of here! He turned and ran. His previous confidence vanished completely. But it was too late. The moment they turned around, bang! A muffled gunshot sounded. Night Owl felt his right hand grow light. A piercing pain surged through. His tactical glove and half his palm were shattered by a large caliber pep round. Sniper! At 2 o'clock! Bang! 2 more gunshots sounded. The weapons in 2 teammates' hands flew away. Who is it? Come out! Come out and fight me one-on-one! The assaulter, Mad Dog, roared, pulled out a red injection, and stabbed it hard into his neck. That was Agent Number 2, but when the needle was still a centimeter from the skin, ZZZZT, a blue electric arc sliced through the night sky. Mad Dog convulsed violently, foaming at the mouth, and collapsed straight down. Damn it! Night Owl looked at his fallen teammate, a flash of desperate madness appearing in his eyes. Since we can't escape, we fight to the death. His leg muscles tightened, and he launched forward, fast as lightning. However, the moment he started, 4 blinding white beams of light lit up simultaneously from all sides, making his area as bright as day. The strong light blinded Night Owl instantly. He screamed, covering his eyes and falling to the ground. Welcome to Base Zero, a cold voice echoed through the loudspeaker. Or rather, welcome to the scene of an information-based war of annihilation. Night Owl endured the intense pain, barely managing to open a slit of his eyes. He saw a scene he would never forget for the rest of his life. Around him, dozens of fully armed soldiers had appeared. They were well equipped, their rifles mounted with various accessories he couldn't name. Dozens of red laser sights covered him and his teammates densely, and right in front, that Type 99A main battle tank had turned its turret. That thick 125mm smoothbore gun was pointing coldly at his head, less than 20 meters away, using a main battle tank to point at a man with a dagger. Is this even human? Despair. Absolute despair. Everything Night Owl took pride in, before these steel beasts and infrared sights, made him look like a clown. Don't fire! Night Owl slowly raised his hands. Before the barrel that could blow him to pieces, he slowly knelt down. I surrender. 10 minutes later, Base Zero, underground interrogation room. The once arrogant Night Owl squad now looked like 5 plucked chickens, locked in interrogation chairs. When I walked in, Night Owl was hanging his head with hollow eyes. Look up, Lei Long shouted coldly. Night Owl tremblingly looked up, and saw me, a man who is far too young. Let me introduce myself. I took a sip of coffee, looking at him with a smile. My name is Lin Han, the owner of this place. To be honest, I'm quite interested in your so-called evolver abilities. I put down the cup, pointing to the lab behind the one-way glass. Over there, Su-wan, in a white coat, was excitedly adjusting equipment. My chief scientist just happens to need a few live specimens to study the effect of crystal nuclei on the human body. So, the following conversation will determine whether you'll lie on an autopsy table for science, or become prisoners and move bricks for us in the back. The smile on my face remained bright, but in Night Owl's eyes, it was more terrifying than a demon. Now tell me about those higher-ups at the Black Steel Group. Before sending you here, did they say how they wanted to die? Base 0. Underground interrogation room. An hour has passed. The wound on Night Owl's hand had been treated, but the pain still reminded him of everything that just happened. On the other side of the one-way glass, Su-wan held a test report, her brow furrowed. The results are out. I pushed the door open and entered the observation room. They're out. Su-wan handed the report to me. Her tone carried a hint of pity. What does it say? The so-called evolved are nothing more than a complete scam. Su-wan pointed to the cellular micrograph in the report. Although their cellular activity is over 5 times that of a normal person, this is not a natural evolution, but was forcibly ignited by a virus. Ignited? Yes. It's like injecting too much accelerant into an engine. Su-wan used an analogy. The mutated strain of the Z virus is constantly eroding their telomerase, forcing the cells to overdraw their vitality in exchange for short-term explosive power. At this rate of decay, she glanced at Night Owl in the interrogation room. Even without any external injuries, he won't live more than 3 to 5 years. By then, he will die of total organ failure, or completely devolve into a mindless husk. I raised an eyebrow. In other words, Black Steel Group's so-called God-making project is actually mass-producing short-lived freaks. Not just short-lived freaks, but mobile biochemical bombs, Su-wan said coldly. This modification is irreversible. That man named Lee Sin is treating living people as disposable consumables. I see. I nodded. A smile curled on my lips. This intel is more valuable than the defense maps they mentioned. After saying that, I took the report and entered the interrogation room. Thud. The document was thrown in front of Night Owl. Take a look. I pulled out a chair and sat down. This is your medical report. Night Owl picked up the report blankly, although he couldn't understand the complex medical data. But that last line of bold red text, he could still recognize. Diagnosis: severe cellular decay, precursor to gene chain collapse. Estimated remaining lifespan: under 3 years. What does this mean? Night Owl's voice was trembling. It means, that thing you're so proud of, God's blood, is actually a lethal poison. I pointed to Su-wan behind the glass wall. My chief scientist just analyzed your blood. The so-called enhancement serum, injected by Black Steel Group, is actually overdrawing your lives. You think you've become stronger, but you're just burning the last of your candles. Impossible, Brotherson said. This is the key to evolution. This is the mark of the new human. Night Owl suddenly stood up, but was violently yanked back into the chair by the handcuffs. You're lying to me. You want to shake my resolve. Lying to you? I sneered. Don't you feel it yourself? The extreme weakness after every use of power, the intense pain deep in your bones at night, and the bloodlust that's becoming harder to control. Night Owl froze. His face instantly turned pale, because every symptom I mentioned hit the deepest fear in his heart with precision. He always thought it was the price of evolution. So, was that just a countdown to death? They have been lying to us all along. Night Owl muttered to himself, the light in his eyes completely extinguished. The collapse of faith is the most despairing thing of all. It's not all bad news though. I suddenly changed the subject. Although it's irreversible, if you cooperate, Dr. Su might have a way to slow down the process, or even let you live like a human for your remaining days. Night Owl suddenly looked up, staring intently at me. What do you want? I want everything from the third water purification plant. I leaned forward, staring into his eyes. Defense maps, fire points, personnel allocation, and Lee Sen's hiding spot. Half an hour later, Command Center, a detailed defense map of the third water purification plant, was projected onto the big screen. I have to say, this is a tough nut to crack. Zhao Jiangwo looked at the dense fire points on the map, his expression solemn. 3 lines of defense, over 2,000 slaves acting as human shields, and 300 fully armed private soldiers. Besides the modified armored vehicles we've seen, they actually have an attack helicopter hidden. It's a pre-war Storm-class tiltrotor aircraft. although its firepower is fierce. They lack the specialized high-energy solid fuel. One flight consumes half a warehouse's worth of reserves. They usually can't afford to use it, I added, according to Night Owl's intel. The core combat power of the Black Steel Group, besides these 300 private soldiers, includes about 50 evolved like him. The strongest among them is the security captain, Butcher. He's said to be a Tier 2 strength enhancer, capable of flipping a car with his bare hands, in front of heavy machine guns. Flipping a car has no tactical value, Lei Long interrupted. The key now is that they control the water source. Zhao Jiangwo pointed to the purification workshop at the center of the map. If we launch a frontal assault, that lunatic Lee Sin will likely blow up the purification equipment, or even poison the water. That's the only deep groundwater well still operating in Haishan City, and a key resource for our future development of this world, so we cannot attack head-on. We must use strategy, I asked. No, Zhao Jiangwo shook his head, a ruthless glint flashing in his eyes. It's a decapitation strike. He drew a red line on the map, cutting straight into the Black Steel Group's core administrative building. Special Forces infiltration, coordinated with a frontal diversion. Before they can react, we take out their headquarters directly. Zhao Jiangwo turned around, looking at me. Comrade Lin Han, haven't you always wanted to test the dual world gates, spatial anchor migration, in actual combat? I was stunned. Then my eyes lit up. Chief, do you mean if we open the light gate directly inside their headquarters? Zhao Jiangwo smiled slightly. For example, right next to Li Sen's office. I looked at the map, taking a deep breath. This isn't a decapitation strike. This is like opening a door with a knife already at their throats. Let's do it. I slammed the table. This is definitely the most dishonorable special operation in history. Late at night, Haishan City. Black rain continued to fall from the sky, about 2 kilometers from the third water purification plant. At an abandoned subway entrance, an elite 12-man squad was stealthily advancing under the cover of night. I was in the center of the formation, heavily guarded. How much longer? I asked in a low voice, even wearing a full set of heavy blast gear, with a submachine gun in my hand. My heart was still racing. After all, this was a real infiltration deep behind enemy lines. Past this maintenance tunnel is the plant's underground pump room. The guide leading the way was the former Night Owl captain, now codenamed Prisoner. That pump room has been abandoned for a long time. It's directly beneath the administrative building where Li Sen's office is. It's the only blind spot in the entire base's defense. Lei Long's muzzle remained vaguely pointed at the center of Night Owl's back, saying coldly, "You'd better pray that path hasn't collapsed. Otherwise, you'll be the first one buried in there." Night Owl gave a bitter smile and didn't respond. 10 minutes later, we arrived in front of a thick concrete wall. "This is it." Night Owl pointed overhead. "Above us is the basement of the administrative building. Behind this wall, there used to be a backup generator room. The space is quite large." I stepped forward and touched the cold wall. "Suitable attachment medium detected. Deploy spatial gate here. Take him down and lock him up." I turned back and ordered. 2 team members immediately stepped forward, hooded Night Owl, and dragged him away. After confirming that all unrelated personnel had been cleared, I finally turned around. Phew. I let out a long breath, glanced back at the Thunder Dragon and the Special Ops team. Zhao Jiangwo had been firmly against me risking myself, but the spatial anchor migration must be positioned by the host. It was a risk that had to be taken. "Everyone, get ready." Though my voice was still a bit tense, it already carried a sense of determination. The Special Ops team instantly dispersed, forming a defensive perimeter. I closed my eyes and connected with the system. Expand, buzz. A deep blue light in this pitch black underground space suddenly flared up. A huge rectangular light screen, 5 meters wide and 4 meters high, appeared out of thin air before everyone. Almost the moment the light gate formed, a cold, murderous aura surged from the other side. It was the scent of steel and gunpowder. Operation Code Name, Thunder. Zhao Jiangwo's steady and powerful voice came from the other side. Attack. Boom. Uniform footsteps sounded like war drums. The first wave to charge out were 3 Lynx all-terrain assault vehicles. The remote weapon stations on the roofs gleamed with the cold light of death, followed by 2 full platoons of fully armed special ops, surging in like a black tide into this narrow underground space. The wide basement was instantly filled by the steel torrent, transported from Earth. I quickly stepped aside, watching this breathtaking scene. The tension in my heart vanished instantly, replaced by an indescribable surge of excitement. This is the power of having a nation behind you. What post-apocalyptic warlords, what awakened ones. In the face of a modernized, organized army. They are all utterly worthless. At this very moment, third floor of the administration building, general manager's office. Lee Sin had his feet propped up on the desk, swirling a half glass of red wine. Night Owl isn't back yet? He asked his assistant beside him. Not yet, boss, but gunshots just came from that direction. Probably that little camp putting up a fight. It delayed them a bit, the assistant said flatteringly. You can trust Night Owl to handle it before dawn. The camp's supplies and that pretty girl will definitely be delivered to your bed. Had better be, Lee Sin sneered. Things haven't been peaceful lately. I heard the Salvation Army in the West is stirring again. If Night Owl can bring back some good things this time, it would be perfect for expanding our armaments. Before he could finish speaking, boom, a loud explosion, as if the earth were turning over. The entire administration building shook violently. The wine glass on the desk was knocked over. What's happening? An earthquake? Lee Sin jumped up in panic. Report, boss. The terrified screams of the guards downstairs came through the walkie-talkie. The basement exploded. What? No, it didn't explode. There are vehicles. There are tanks charging out from the basement. Are you fucking crazy? Lee Sin cursed loudly. Where the hell would tanks come from in the basement? Did moles dig a hole for them? However, the next second, he couldn't curse anymore. Rat-tat-tat-tat. The dull and dense sound of heavy machine gun fire exploded directly in the hall downstairs, followed by explosions and screams. It was a storm of metal shredding every obstacle. Boss, they're coming up. Too fast. That's Special Forces. It really is Special Forces. The voice in the walkie-talkie stopped abruptly. Lee Sin's face instantly turned pale as a sheet. With trembling hands, he pulled a Desert Eagle from the drawer. Just as he tried to rush to the door, bang! The thick solid door, along with the door frame, was kicked flying by a large foot in a tactical boot. Amidst flying splinters, 2 stun grenades rolled in. No! Buzz, blinding white light and massive noise instantly stripped Lee Sin of all his senses. He collapsed to the floor like a drunkard. When his vision recovered slightly, he only felt several cold muzzles. A muzzle is pressed against his forehead. A cold voice sounded beside him. Lee Sin, right? If you don't want your head to explode, tell your men to put down their weapons. Lee Sin struggled to open his teary eyes, and saw a group of fully armed soldiers whose equipment drove him to despair. And behind these soldiers, a figure in heavy blast gear was staring coldly at him through a visor. This is impossible. Lee Sin squeezed a desperate moan from his throat. Where on earth did you come from? I stepped forward, looking down at this wasteland overlord. I pointed to the floor beneath my feet, and flashed a brilliant smile. You might not believe it when I say this, but we grew out of your basement. The battle ended quickly, but the post-war cleanup was even more tedious. When the first rays of dawn hit the 3rd water purification plant, this fortress, once ruled by violence and fear, finally found peace. In the square, the once arrogant private army of the Black Steel Group were now crouching on the ground, heads in hands. Everyone stay still. Don't move. A Special Forces soldier slammed a rifle butt hard onto the back of a mercenary trying to reach for a weapon. The mercenary trembled with fear. His crotch was instantly soaked. This scene was witnessed by over 2,000 survivors, crouching in a corner nearby. In their numb eyes, besides fear, there was a hint of unbelievable shock. In their understanding, new occupiers usually meant a new round of slaughter or even more brutal enslavement. However, the expected whipping, insults, and executions did not come. Instead, there were wafts of aroma enough to awaken the most primitive human desires. It wasn't the burnt smell of roasted mutant meat, nor the sour smell of moldy bread, but the distinct fragrance of rice porridge. This is the smell of rice porridge. A skeletal old man in the corner of the crowd twitched his nose. A spark suddenly flared in his cloudy eyes, staring intently at the other side of the square. There, several soldiers in protective gear were carrying down several huge stainless steel thermal buckets. The moment the lids were opened, white steam rose up. For those who had struggled in the apocalypse for 12 years, this white steam was more addictive than the highest purity drugs. The soldier in charge of distribution turned on the megaphone. Line up. Everyone gets some. The peace and sense of order in that tone was something these survivors hadn't heard in 12 years. Heavenly music. The elderly, women and children first. Don't push. There's plenty of food. Those who have received their food, go to the medical tent on the left for a checkup. There was a stir in the crowd, but seeing the armed soldiers on guard, they shrank back and stopped. Really? Giving it to us? A little girl looked timidly at the soldier who approached her. Her eyes filled with longing and fear. The soldier knelt down, took a ham sausage from his pocket, and handed it over. Eat. You won't have to go hungry anymore. At that moment, the girl's mother suddenly held her child and wailed. The crying seemed contagious, quickly spreading through the entire crowd. Over 2,000 survivors, facing these few buckets of white porridge, wept heart-wrenchingly. It was 12 years of suppressed grievance, and the release of finding hope in desperation. The underground experimental area behind the admin building. The atmosphere here was completely different, like a remnant of hell. These animals. Suwon stood in a room labeled Purification Room. The electronic notebook in her hand creaked as she squeezed it. The room was filled with huge glass jars. The jars didn't contain specimens, but failures. Those who were forcibly injected with excessive core extract, causing genetic collapse and bodily mutations, were soaked in preservative fluid, staring at the outside world with eyes that wouldn't close. This is what they called the God-making project. Lei Long stood behind Suwon, looking at this purgatory-like scene, his tone terrifyingly cold, treating living people like lab rats, used to test the virus's critical point. Not just testing. Suwon pointed to a blood-stained experimental log. Her voice was trembling. They were trying to mass-produce evolvers. Lee Sun believed that as long as the base population was large enough, he could always screen for a few children of God who could coexist with the virus. As for those who failed, they are the things in these jars. The pages were densely packed with experimental data. Subject 074. Injected 10 milliliters of Tier 1 crystal core extract. Violent reaction. All blood vessels burst. Cause, multi-organ failure. Subject 109. Injected 5 milliliters of Tier 2 crystal core extract. Partial skeletal metallization occurred, but immediately lost control and went berserk. Has been cleared. Subject 213. Behind every line of cold data was a living human life. Collect all this information. Suwon took 3 deep breaths, forcing down her nausea and anger. Although cruel, but this data, for our vaccine research, and finding ways to safely use crystal cores, has important reference value. We can't let them die in vain. Understood. Then what about these scumbags? Lei Long pointed to those trembling Black Steel group researchers in the corner. Suwon gave them a cold look. Let the survivors judge them. I think those family members who lost their loved ones would be very happy to exchange experimental insights with them. Top floor of the administration building, general manager's office. This place has become my temporary frontline command center. I stood before the floor-to-ceiling window, watching the crowds queuing orderly below, and the engineering vehicles starting to clear the ruins in the distance. This is the first step in rebuilding civilization. Zhao Jiangwo's figure appeared on the command terminal screen on the desk. Lin Han, you did very well. Not only did you take the territory, more importantly, you won the people's hearts. Sometimes a bowl of hot porridge is indeed more effective than guns and cannons, I remarked. But to keep those hearts, more things are needed. Has the resource inventory been completed? Zhao Jiangwo asked. Currently inventorying. The spoils are beyond imagination. I turned around, looking at the busy logistics officer. Report, Chief. The preliminary list is ready. The logistics officer handed over a tactical tablet. First is the gold. Lee Sun stockpiled about 21 tons of gold in the underground vault. I nodded. This batch of gold is worth nearly 1 billion in the real world, enough to fill many gaps in the early stages of the Spark project. Second is the technological equipment. The logistics officer pointed to 3 silver suitcases nearby. This is the biggest surprise. In Lee Sen's private collection room, we found this batch of military-grade tactical tablets and a portable server. I picked up a tablet and swiped a few times. The system runs smooth and fluid. This thing solves a huge problem for us. My eyes lit up. With the Haitian City Municipal network protocols and encrypted maps stored in it, we might be able to try and wake up some dormant systems of this city. Finally, and most importantly, the logistics officer lowered his voice slightly and opened the black gold suitcase in the middle. In an instant, a mesmerizing red glow lit up the office. Crystal cores, all the high-quality stock that the Black Steel Group scavenged over the years is here. In the box, over 30 blood-red Tier 2 crystal cores were neatly arranged, along with over 400 Tier 1 crystal cores. High-purity energy source detected. Tier 2 biological crystal cores found. 32. Tier 1 biological crystal cores. 415. Estimated convertible energy. 4,800 points. Tier 2 plus 4,980 points. Tier 1 current energy reserve 9,700 180. I looked at the system data popping up on my retina. My breath caught for a moment. Nearly 10,000 points. By taking down one regional warlord, I've gathered 90% of the energy needed to upgrade to LV3. Having such a massive energy reserve means I've become a true nouveau riche. I can open the matter transmission channel without hesitation, and bring in heavy equipment in a steady stream. I can also freely use spatial anchor migration to bring the fire of war to any enemy's doorstep. Besides these, we also found something in Lee Sen's computer. The logistics officer pulled up a blurry satellite map. This was a distribution map of the forces around Haishan City. 2 critical coordinates were marked on it. He pointed to a red dot on the edge of the map. The first one, Lighthouse Camp, located in the west of the city. The notes indicated a large number of pre-war researchers gathered there, possessing relatively complete industrial production capabilities. My eyes flickered. Su Wan's home. What about the second one? The logistics officer's finger moved toward the city center, the area covered in crimson. The second one is the Haishan City Central Hospital. The Black Steel Group had marked it on the map with a giant skull symbol, and labeled it as a forbidden zone. But below the note, there was another line of small text. The logistics officer zoomed in and read the line. Suspected location of a Tier 4 mutant hive. Crystal core reserves are immeasurable. A brief silence fell over the office. I looked at that crimson skull symbol, as if I could feel the horror radiating from the screen. A Tier 4 hive. If a Tier 2 core provides 150 energy points, then Tier 4. It seems our next objective is already clear. Zhao Jiangwo broke the silence from the other end of the screen. But before that, we need to consolidate the gains from this battle first. Move steadily and secure every step. I nodded and looked out the window again. This is no longer the Black Steel Group's den of evil. This is Forward Base 01. It is the first flame of human civilization, reignited in this desperate world. I took a deep breath, knowing that this game has only just begun. But I am no longer that trembling, ordinary youth. Behind me stands a powerful nation. Attention everyone. Zhao Jiangwo's steady voice sounded from the screen, officially issuing the first military order after the occupation. Combat readiness lifted. All units transitioned to construction status. A preliminary defense perimeter must be established within 24 hours. Additionally, Zhao Jiangwo looked at me through the screen, his tone softening slightly. Tell the cooking squad to add to tonight's meal. Plenty of braised pork for everyone. Forward Base 01. Civilization does not mean a free lunch. Zhao Jiangwo and I both know well that in the apocalypse, pure charity only breeds laziness. Only by establishing a fair exchange system can we truly revitalize the vitality of this dead society. Attention all personnel. A clear and powerful announcement in Mandarin came over the base broadcast. All healthy adults aged 16 to 55, please gather at the plaza in front of the administration building for identity registration and labor allocation. Repeating, gather at the plaza in front of the administration building for identity registration and labor allocation. There was no great commotion among the crowd. Their only worry was whether the new master's exploitation would be more ruthless than the Black Steel Group. Old Jean was anxious, blending into the crowd. He used to be an old engineer at the water purification plant. He was in his 50s during the Black Steel rule. Because of his technical skills, he barely managed to save his life, but he was merely surviving. Old Jean, what do you think they'll make us do? Not use us as bait to lure zombies, right? A young man beside him asked in a low voice. Don't talk nonsense. Old Jean glared at him. Have you ever seen bandits give new clothes to slaves? The line moved forward slowly. Name. The person in charge of registration was a young soldier wearing black tactical exoskeletons, his tone calm and rigorous. Zhang Jianguo. Old Zhang answered with a slight stutter. No need to bow, stand up straight. The soldier looked up at him. What did you do before? I was originally an engineer at this plant. Later I was responsible for repairing pumps and generators for Black Steel. An engineer? The soldier's eyes lit up. He operated the device a few times, looking at the lens. A soft blue light scanned old Zhang's iris. Identity profile created. Zhang Jianguo, 52 years old, senior technical personnel, number 01, T042. The soldier handed over a black rubber wristband. Put this on. This is your ID card in the base, as well as your wallet and health monitor. Money? Wallet? Old Zhang was stunned. In the apocalypse, money had long since become waste paper. That's right. The soldier pointed to a Huge LED screen in the center of the square. In Base 01, we don't use old world currency, nor do we implement slave rations. We use a contribution point system. Lao Zhang looked where he pointed, and various entries were scrolling on the screen. Base 01 task bulletin board. Basic labor. Battlefield cleanup. Moving corpses. 1 point. Including epidemic prevention subsidy. Technical labor. Urgent need. Mechanical repair. Electrician. 20 points per day. Assessment required for grading. Senior technicians get extra allowances. Resource collection. High risk, high reward. Tier 1 crystal core. 100 points each. Tier 2 crystal core. 1,500 points each. And on the other side of the screen was a dazzling supply exchange list. Food. White rice porridge. Steamed buns. Unlimited supply. 50 points per portion. Common goods. Canned luncheon meat 340g. 10 points per can. Special supply. Braised pork canned. 50 points per can. Daily necessities. Soap. Shampoo. 3 points per set. Antibiotics. Amoxicillin. 50 points per blister pack. Cigarettes. Hard currency. 30 points per pack. Lao Zhang stared in amazement, his Adam's apple bobbing violently. He quickly did the math in his head. If he did the hardest work, moving corpses, 10 bodies a day would be 10 points, enough to be full. But if he could pass the mechanical repair assessment, my God, 20 points a day, wouldn't that mean a can of braised pork every 2 days? More importantly, the rules here are open and transparent. As long as you're willing to work, you can live like a human being. This isn't just a base. This is practically paradise. Is this real? Lao Zhang asked tremulously. Do we really get braised pork? It's not just a trick to make us work? Of course, the soldier chuckled and pulled out a can of braised pork from under the table, shaking it. As long as you have points, you can eat as much as you want. Our commander said that here, labor is the most glorious, and those who work more get more. I'll sign up. I can fix pumps. I was the chief engineer of this factory. Lao Zhang suddenly straightened his back, an unprecedented light flashing in his eyes. Not just pumps, generators, transformers. I can fix them all. Give me the tools, and I can start working right now. Very good. The soldier nodded with satisfaction, entering a string of code into his wristband. Go to Area B for the assessment. Once you pass, your pay starts today. Top floor of the administration building. Temporary command center. I stood before the floor-to-ceiling window, looking down at the bustling scene below. The numb, deathly aura on everyone's faces was fading, replaced by a vitality called hope for the future. It seems humans' ability to adapt to their environment is far stronger than we imagined. I mused, not just adaptation. Zhao Jiangwo's holographic image appeared on the screen, but a longing for order. This point system is essentially rebuilding a credit system. As long as they believe that effort brings reward, the productivity they unleash is staggering. This is also thanks to the material support provided by the state. I smiled. If it weren't for those mountains of canned food and grain as credit backing, I wouldn't be able to run this system either. This is only the beginning, Zhao Jiangwo said solemnly. The domestic expert team has already conducted a preliminary analysis of the crystal core samples you sent back. The energy density contained in this thing is extremely high. If we can crack its energy conversion mechanism, it's subversive to the energy landscape of the real world. That's why Linhan, Base 01 must be held steady. This is our future energy mine. Don't worry, Uncle Zhao. I nodded. By the way, how are things with Suwan? She's even busier than you. Lei Long, standing beside me, chimed in. She just picked 30 people from the survivors, those with backgrounds in medicine and biology. And, Lei Long paused, a hint of admiration appearing on his face. The first group of support experts from our side has already passed through the light gate. Those old professors from the Academy of Sciences, seeing the virus samples and mutant slices that Suwan produced, were all hyper-excited. Now they've all dove into the P3 lab on the second underground floor, all following Suwan's orders. That scene, a group of white-haired academicians surrounding a young girl, calling her teacher, and asking about otherworldly biological knowledge, is truly interesting. Among 3 people, there's always one I can learn from. I smiled knowingly. Suwan has struggled and survived in the apocalypse for 12 years. Her experience in this area is indeed richer than ours. Let the experts learn more from her, and merge the tech trees of the 2 worlds as soon as possible. As long as they don't trigger a biohazard crisis. I made a joke. Lei Long, however, took over with a serious expression. Understood. Rest assured, Consultant Lin. We've been keeping a close eye on the safety red lines. All outgoing labor teams must be led by elite squads. Additionally, We are focusing on those warriors willing to collect crystal cores. These people are great candidates for expanding local auxiliary forces. Lei Long saluted and was about to turn and leave. Suddenly, the red alarm light in the command center lit up. Beep. A radar operator suddenly stood up. Report. Recon radar has captured an abnormal signal. Lei Long and I turned around at the same time and walked quickly to the electronic map. Position due west, 5 kilometers from the base. Approaching us at high speed along the old national highway. The operator brought up the real-time drone reconnaissance footage. In the footage, a small convoy consisting of 3 modified off-road vehicles and 1 heavy truck was speeding along the abandoned highway. The vehicles were welded with crude steel plates and spikes. The west? I raised an eyebrow, my gaze locking onto the red-marked area on the map. That's the direction of the lighthouse camp. Yes. Lei Long zoomed in on the image. Identity confirmed. It's a convoy from the lighthouse camp. Judging by their posture, they don't look like they're marching, but rather like they're fleeing for their lives. In the footage, the convoy was driving erratically, as if something was chasing them from behind. No matter what they're here for. I gripped the teacup in my hand. Since guests have arrived, we really should welcome them. I just don't know if they're friend or foe. When neighbors visit, we must show a certain attitude. Lei Long stepped forward with a solemn expression. Consultant Lin, leave the defensive deployment to me. Since this is the first formal contact, we must show our strongest fist. I'll arrange for those 299A tanks to be positioned right at the main gate. Infantry fighting vehicles will deploy on both flanks. Since they've come, we must let them know who's in charge here. The first step of this diplomatic contact is to make a show of force. We need to teach these neighbors how to speak politely. I feel very relieved with you guys here. Base 01 forward base. Second underground floor. Just 48 hours ago, this was still a blood-stained forbidden zone under the rule of the Black Steel Group. But after my engineer company's day and night disinfection and renovation, it has become the most precise location in the entire apocalypse. P3 Biosafety Laboratory. The heavy airtight door slid open. Wearing a sterile suit, I stepped into this core area. There were no longer any eerie torture devices here. Instead, various top-tier research equipment, urgently transported from the real world. A dozen precision instruments were humming softly, and the first group of support experts, urgently drafted by the state from the Academy of Sciences, were surrounding Su Wan. Dr. Su, look at the RNA transcription process of this sample. Does it have some similarity to the influenza virus? Teacher Su, regarding the metallization reaction of the berserker's intramuscular fibers, I have a new hypothesis. Su Wan couldn't hide the fatigue in her eyes, but she was in a state of unprecedented feverish focus. Professor Chen, that RNA fragment is a trap. The Z virus has an extremely strong ability to camouflage. Try the reverse transcription one more time. Without looking back, she operated the electron microscope. As for the metallization reaction, that's a characteristic only found in Tier 3 mutants and above. Current Tier 1 sample data is insufficient. Don't make blind inferences. The moment she stood up, she saw me. A smile appeared on her exhausted face. Lin Han, what brings you here? I walked over with a smile, gesturing for the hesitant old professors to continue. Come and see our chief scientist. How is it? Are you satisfied with this new equipment? Satisfied? More than that. Su Wan stroked the mass spectrometer beside her, her eyes shining. This is simply paradise. Although Lighthouse Camp kept some pre-war equipment, but due to lack of power and maintenance, most of it has broken down, and the rest are prone to frequent failures. But everything here is brand new. Some models are even better than what I remember, as the most advanced ones from before the war. To do a job well, one must first sharpen their tools. I heard from Lei Long that you've made a huge breakthrough since you arrived. Follow me. With a serious expression, she led me to the analysis area and handed me a thick report. For the past 2 days, I've carefully analyzed those experimental data from the so-called God-making project left by Li Xin. I must say, although the people of the Black Steel Group were heartless, the massive amount of data they accumulated from human experiments is indeed a vast treasure trove. To create so-called enhanced soldiers, they injected thousands of survivors with crystal core extracts of varying concentrations. The vast majority died miserably due to rejection reactions. But while analyzing the death records, I discovered a strange phenomenon. What phenomenon? I opened the report, highlighted and circled in red ink. Perception failure. Those 4 words instantly caught my eye. Look at this subject. Number A302. In the surveillance footage, a man covered in ulcers lay in the zombie cage, yet the frenzied zombies around him were like blind men, and completely ignored him. A huge shock suddenly seized my heart. This is, my pupils contracted. Invisibility. Not visual invisibility, but a blockage of smell and perception. Zombies hunt primarily by locking on with smell, to specific pheromones emitted by living organisms, and secondarily by hearing. And in the 30 minutes before that subject died, a certain metabolite in his body neutralized this scent of the living. Those idiots from Lee Sen's group only cared about pursuing strength enhancement, and considered this subject a failure, so they disposed of him immediately, not knowing that what they threw away was the true divine skill. Suwon shook a spray bottle in her hand containing a pale green liquid. I extracted that special enzyme, using the gene editing technology you provided, and removed the toxic fragments that caused cell collapse, and used Tier 1 crystal core powder as a stabilizer to synthesize this. I call it Mist number 1, a zombie pheromone camouflage spray. Just spray it on your body, and within 30 minutes, it will completely block the perception of ordinary zombies. I took the cold spray bottle. In this apocalypse, pheromones that can evade zombie hordes are practically a walking official cheat, and the ultimate life-saving charm built upon countless lives. Has the effect been tested? I suppressed my excitement. I've already conducted live tests in the isolation zone. In the video, the special ops soldier entered the cage after spraying the agent. The bloodthirsty zombies had no reaction. Effective radius is about 3 meters. Duration is 30 minutes. However, there are limitations. The effect is greatly reduced for Tier 2 mutants and above, because they have evolved more acute visual and auditory auxiliary judgment abilities. Second, you cannot actively attack. Once a violent attack or gunfire occurs, the camouflage will fail. Enough. It's enough. I gripped the test tube tightly. Enough to let our search teams penetrate deep into the city center. Enough to let us go to those death zones we never dared to imagine before. Suwon, you've done a great service. I stared at her and said in a deep voice, if this can be mass-produced, its value would be no less than an armored division. Mass production still takes time. Current crystal core reserves are insufficient. Moreover, to improve its effectiveness against high-level mutants, I still need more data, especially live data on second-order mutants. You'll get the data, and the crystals too. My tactical terminal suddenly vibrated, and the intel on it made my expression turn cold. What happened? The communications team just used the municipal network protocols left by the Black Steel Group to restore shortwave communication monitoring around the city. I walked toward the electronic map on the wall. Just 10 minutes ago, we intercepted a distress signal. The signal was weak, intermittent, sent via clear text broadcast. The frequency code indicates it's from Lighthouse Camp. Suwon rushed to the map, staring at the screen with a trembling voice. Lighthouse? What happened to them? What does the distress call say? Only 4 words. Beast tied. Flee immediately. Recon drones have already been deployed. The footage shows a sizable swarm of mutant beasts besieging the outer walls of Lighthouse Camp. If we don't intervene, with Lighthouse's current defensive firepower, they won't survive the night. Suwon gripped the lab bench tightly. Not everyone in Lighthouse is a good person. Back then, to fight over limited resources, the executives who drove my father and me away were selfish and cold-blooded. They even cut off the power to my father's life support pod just to save electricity. I know, I understand the cruelty of human nature in the apocalypse all too well, but I will never pass up an opportunity to seize resources. But I also know that there are still hundreds of innocent researchers there, just like your father. There are also tons of experimental data and blueprints. Those people are scum, but that knowledge is priceless. Dr. Su, I'm not going there to be a nanny, nor am I going there to play the saint. Right now, Base 01 has guns, has food, and has medicine. The only thing we lack is people, technology, and scientific research capabilities. What Lighthouse has is exactly what we need, and what we have at Base 01, pats the supply box, is something they wouldn't even dare dream of. I'm going there for an acquisition. I'm going to pack up the entire Lighthouse camp, people and equipment included, and bring them all back. As for those who once bullied you, you will see with your own eyes that in the face of absolute power, their so-called pride and authority are completely insignificant. Get ready, Dr. Su. I turned and walked toward the door, a cold smile playing on my lips. Bring your Mist number 1. This time, we're going to bring your old colleagues back in style. We'll let everyone know that in this apocalypse, who the real lighthouse is. Professor Chin, prepare to establish a level 2 biosafety isolation zone. We need to prepare to receive a large number of new live samples and new colleagues. Inside the cargo channel of the western main entrance, my troops had already established a deadly line of crossfire, accompanied by a dull drone. 3 aggressive modified off-roaders and a battered heavy truck were charging toward the base like madmen. Stop! You are entering a military restricted zone. Any further approach will be considered a hostile act. Open fire immediately. The convoy didn't slow down. A burly man emerged from the lead vehicle, desperately waving a signal gun. Our snipers immediately opened fire. 12.7 mm rounds tore huge holes into the ground in front of them, forcing the entire convoy to screech to a halt. Don't shoot! We're human! The burly man scrambled out of the vehicle. We're the search party from the Western Lighthouse camp. We mean no harm. Something is chasing us. Following his gaze, dust exploded across the distant horizon. Several dark red mutant hounds were closing in at a terrifying speed. They're hunters. The burly man turned pale instantly. Being torn apart by a second-order mutant would happen in an instant. Just as he closed his eyes to await death, the canvas behind the defense line was suddenly thrown open. The barrel of a 99A main battle tank lowered menacingly, accompanied by the roar of its flanking autocannons. Dense rain of bullets in the sky tore those hunters into a mist of blood. Absolute firepower suppression stunned the remaining convoy. This is a regular army, a pre-war regular army. 10 minutes later, this Falcon search team was disarmed. They stared greedily at my bases. Abundant power and clean water source. Have some. Lei Long tossed a bottle of water. The burly man drank it in one gulp. Lei Long loomed over him like an iron tower. Speak. Which unit? What are you doing here? Why is there a tail following you? My name is Wang Meng, deputy captain of the Lighthouse Camp security team. We were ordered to come out for reconnaissance. It said the Black Steel group was wiped out. The leader told us to see who on earth took over this place. I didn't expect it to be a real god. Cut the crap. Lei Long interrupted. Get to the point. What was the deal with those hunters just now? Fear crept across his face again. A beast tide. The western mountains have erupted. For some reason, those that usually hide in the deep mountains, the mutant beasts suddenly all charged out. Not just hunters, but also behemoths. Even, some people saw dragons in the sky. Dragons? I suddenly spoke and stepped forward. Lei Long tactfully stepped back half a pace. This positioning gave Wang Meng a slight shock. They are carrion wyverns. Su Wan approached with a tactical tablet. Lin Han, what he said is true. We just reconfirmed the signal source. Lighthouse Camp has indeed been surrounded. Those hunters chasing them might just be outer scouts. Dr. Su, you're still alive. Wang Meng gasped. Why? Is it surprising? Captain Wang, when you kicked my father out of the lab back then, you were the one leading the charge to break down the door. Wang Meng avoided her gaze, not daring to look at the woman controlling the situation. I stared at him coldly, evaluating this deal that could double my strength. We'll catch up later. So, you managed to escape? You could say we broke through. Before the camp was surrounded, the leaders sent several convoys in different directions for help. We were lucky enough to break out, but those beasts spotted us and chased us all the way here. Officer Lin. Wang Meng fell to his knees with a thud. I beg you, please save the lighthouse. There are still over 3,000 people there. Although the leaders are scum, the survivors below are innocent. And there's a lot of equipment in the camp. A lot of data. If the beast tide breaks through, it's all over. 3,000 people. I turned to look at Lei Long and Su Wan. 3,000 laborers, plus the equipment and colleagues you're longing for, Dr. Su. This deal is worth it. Agreed. This is indeed a profitable deal. Director Zhao Zhengwo approached, surrounded by staff officers. I nodded slightly to him. Director Zhao. Lei Long and the others saluted solemnly. The staff department has already evaluated it. The personnel and equipment of Lighthouse Camp are urgently needed. Lei Long, I approve your combat request. Take the armored company and 2 mechanized infantry companies, and bring the people back. Remember, what we want are people and equipment, not ruins. Minimize collateral damage as much as possible. Mission will be accomplished. A fighting spirit ignited in Lei Long's eyes. He roared into the communicator. All units, combat readiness. The garage doors swung open with a crash. 10 Type 99A main battle tanks rolled out, crushing the ground, creating a shockwave that made the earth tremble. Wang Meng fell to his knees, sobbing uncontrollably, witnessing the arrival of the apocalypse's most brutal terminators. Forward Base 01. The strong smell of military diesel filled the air. For a wasteland dweller like Wang Meng, this is the most expensive scent in the world. I watched him huddle in the corner like a bumpkin. A dozen tankers were filling golden high-grade fuel, forcefully pouring into the fuel tanks of those steel beasts. The overflowing fuel makes his heart ache. In this apocalypse where even low-grade biodiesel must be counted by the drop, the sight of my soldiers casually discarding half a bucket of gasoline is violently shattering his perception. Such a waste of precious resources. Too extravagant, he murmured in a daze. Is this a nation? Wang Meng, stop spacing out. Get in. The window of the Mengsure assault vehicle rolled down. Lei Long looked down at him coldly through tactical sunglasses. You're in charge of leading the way. Go to the lead vehicle. Yes, sir. Wang Meng shuddered and climbed into the armored vehicle. All units attention. Lei Long's deep voice cut through the all-frequency channel. Target, due west. Lighthouse camp. Distance, 25 kilometers. Operation code, Dawn. Move out. The earth shook violently. 10 Type 99A main battle tanks as the spearhead. 20 Type 04A infantry fighting vehicles as the flanks. I sat inside the command vehicle, watching this steel dragon spitting black smoke, crushing its way out of the base gates. 12 years of ruins made the streets impassable. But my armored torrent didn't need to detour. Roadblock detected ahead. About 50 abandoned cars blocking the intersection. The lead vehicle's observer reported concisely. Ram through. Lei Long ordered. Copy that. The 1,500 horsepower engine roared. The tanks, weighing dozens of tons, directly rolled over them like bulldozers. Abandoned cars were crushed into twisted metal discs under the tracks, forcing a path through by sheer power. The violent noise instantly shattered the city's deathly silence. Thousands of zombies from the side alleys surged out like a black tide, lunging straight at the convoy. Sir Wan Lai, zombie tide. Wan Lai, zombie tide. It's a zombie tide. It's a tide, Wan Lai. Wang Meng's pale scream erupted over the comms channel. Stop the cars. We need to use the buildings for defense. What's the panic? Su Wan, in the same vehicle, looked at the tactical tablet, her tone as cold as ice. Just watch. No need for the main guns. The IFV's 30mm autocannons and heavy machine guns instantly unleashed a net of death. The charging zombie tide was shredded like wheat. Large caliber rounds blew the approaching corpses apart. Tracks coldly crushed the flesh and blood on the ground. The sound of snapping bones made one's skin crawl. The horde became crushed ants before the steamrollers. That's it. Wang Meng sat stunned against the seat. 12 years of frugal survivalism collapsed instantly. This is the difference. Wang Meng. Su Wan looked at the long, bloody track marks outside. We were surviving before, but they are conquering. 2 hours later, I sat in the command vehicle. The convoy sped westward. The smell of gunpowder in the air grew stronger. Faint glimmers of tracer rounds tore through the distant horizon. We're here. Wang Meng pointed to the ruins of the fortress built against the mountain, his voice trembling with fear. That's the lighthouse. The situation is far worse than imagined. The sturdy high-voltage walls have been breached. Dense swarms of mutant beasts are flooding into the camp. The massive bodies of the brutes are hammering the gates desperately. The defenders' line is on the verge of collapse. It seems we've arrived just in time. I coldly lowered the binoculars, pressed the all-frequency tactical comms. All units attention. Disengage march mode. Switch to combat formation. Target. Beast tide ahead. Mission. Leave none alive. Fire. The 125mm guns of 10 Type 99A tanks. Smoothbore cannons roared simultaneously. Barrels aligned perfectly, pointing at the beast tide in the darkness. This is a greeting from the pinnacle of human power. Boom. The interior of Lighthouse Camp has become a purgatory. Through drone footage and intercepted comms frequencies, the desperate screams from within could be heard clearly. Can't hold them back. The east wall has collapsed. The hunters are in. Where's the heavy machine gun? Why aren't you firing? Out of ammo. The last crate of ammo was spent 5 minutes ago. On the rooftop of the command center, camp leader Zhou Qing stared intently at the tide of beasts slaughtering the survivors. His knuckles were white from gripping the empty gun too hard. It's over, he muttered to himself. In his field of vision, thousands of mutants were overwhelming the defense line. With a thunderous boom, the final iron gate was smashed down by the brutes. Run! The monsters are in. Desperate, broken screams echoed from all directions. Hunters were indiscriminately slashing the guards' throats. Zhou Qing gave a bitter laugh. If at that time I hadn't driven her away for that equipment, perhaps. Roar! A massive mutant beast, stepping over the corpses, pounced toward him. He closed his eyes tight, raising the handgun with an empty magazine, waiting for the end of death. Boom! A 125mm high explosive shell suddenly detonated at the foot of the mountain. The brute, along with the despair before Zhou Cheng's eyes, instantly turned into a mass of burning flesh and a mist of shattered blood. The earth-shaking explosion drowned out all the sounds of biting. What is this? He opened his eyes in terror. 10 Type 99A main battle tanks in desert camouflage, and 20 infantry fighting vehicles crushed the ruins, entering the battlefield like moving steel fortresses. Tracer rounds from 30mm autocannons became the whips of death, precisely plowing trenches of flesh and blood through the beast tide. Hunters attempting to counterattack were shattered in midair, under the bursts of machine gun fire. This isn't tactics. This is a complete dimensional strike. Thermal imaging lock. Fire control radar sweep. The tide that once could have wiped out the entire camp, under the coverage of modern firepower, was completely annihilated in just 10 minutes, leaving only charred remains and acrid gunpowder smoke. Zhou Cheng's legs gave out. His sidearm fell with a clatter. He looked blankly at the tank's turret, where the red flag fluttered in the wind, and suddenly broke down in tears. The regular army. The country didn't forget us. The country has come to save us. The gunfire ceased. Wearing black light protective gear, I stepped out of the warrior assault vehicle, stepping over the blood and shredded flesh. The nausea of first entering this slaughterhouse was suppressed by the cold torrent of steel behind me. I took the megaphone. A cold voice echoed through the silent dead zone. This is the Spark Rescue Team. I am Lin Han, representing the Spark Rescue Team. Now, we are taking over this place. I looked up, my gaze piercing through the smoke, precisely locking onto the trembling Zhou Qing on the rooftop. Leader Zhou, won't you come down to greet your savior? Special forces quickly sealed off all main roads. In this apocalypse where lives are like grass, their cold weapons and hazmat suits became a godlike salvation in the eyes of the refugees. Escorted by a squad of armed guards, I entered the camp's main building. This once luxurious hillside villa was now filled with the stench of sweat and the sour smell of long-term famine. The floor was covered with wounded people like withered wood, and when they saw the woman beside me wearing Snow White and a brand new research suit, the hall fell silent enough to hear a pin drop. Su, Dr. Su, on a stretcher in the corner. The assistant who had once abandoned Su Wan in the power struggle whimpered and trembled, shrinking shamefully into a black blanket. Zhou Qing, with his arm in a sling, looked devastated and embarrassed. 3 days ago, he had driven Su Wan away like a stray dog. Today she returns from a position of power, bringing a destructive armed force that could level the entire camp. Su Wan. Zhou Qing's voice was dry and pale. You're back. Su Wan didn't spare him a glance. That complete indifference was more hurtful than any mockery. The air quality here is very poor. Is the ventilation system broken? She frowned, and gave direct orders to the elite medical team behind her. Establish a quarantine zone first. Prioritize the critically wounded. Additionally, the sanitary conditions here are too poor. Perform a full disinfection immediately. I don't want to see any cross-infection. Yes, Dr. Su. Before she walked toward the sobbing follower, her tone held only the coldness of absolute rationality. Xiaolu, if your leg injury isn't treated in time, it will become necrotic. Carry him to the medical area, and prepare for debridement surgery. Zhou Qing froze in place. This woman only cared about truth and life from start to finish, while his calculated struggle for camp dominance was nothing more than an insignificant bug in a mud pit to her. Dr. Su, he desperately wanted to reclaim some dignity. Leader Zhou, I shouted sharply, stepping forward with the insurmountable gap of a superior. We'll talk about catching up later. I pointed to the skin and bone refugees around us. The priority right now is eating. I simply waved my hand, and several strong soldiers slammed heavy thermal containers onto the ground. The loud crash popped open the lids. The aroma of steaming, tempting rice porridge, and the rich, oily scent of braised pork hit like a heavy bomb, violently scrubbing away all the smell of blood in the area. Gulp. The sound of swallowing saliva was eerie, rising and falling in a continuous wave. No one could resist instinct in the face of porridge and real meat. To celebrate the lighthouse camp's survival, and to celebrate Dr. Su's return home, I threw this grace-like command to everyone. Tonight, there will be an unlimited supply of century egg pork porridge and canned braised pork. Start eating. Eat your fill. Wild cheers instantly blew the roof off. Thank you, Chief. Thank you, Dr. Su. I quietly looked at Zhou Qing. His pitiful prestige crumbled along with the hot porridge. Leader Joe, no need to be so depressed. I walked up to him, picked out a fresh Chunghwa cigarette with my fingertips, and with a click, lit it for him. We are not bandits. We are here to cooperate. I have food. You have technology. This deal, you're not losing out. He bit the filter hard, taking a deep drag. The smoke violently pierced his lungs, and the strong nicotine left his nerves completely limp. He looked at the refugees scrambling for food and the spotless Su-won, resigning himself miserably to fate. Let's cooperate. His voice was exhausted and hollow. Commander Lin, what have you set your sights on? Take whatever you want, as long as it can keep us alive. Keep us living like human beings. I want more than just survival. I leaned in with a cold face, every word like carving into bone and marrow. What I want is to rebuild civilization, and the technology of your lighthouse camp is one of the cornerstones for rebuilding civilization. Follow me, and you will no longer be rats hiding in holes, but the heroes who rebuilt this world. Those last few words were like a bolt of lightning striking his extinguished ambition. Zhou Cheng's body trembled. Take me to see it, Leader Zhou. I pointed to the underground entrance to the P4 lab. Let me see what good things you've actually hidden, that Su-won can't forget, and that the Black Steel Group is so desperate for. He gritted his teeth and crushed the cigarette butt under his foot. Please follow me. Zhou Qing seemed to regain the confidence to straighten his back. Although we are not good at fighting, when it comes to scientific research, Lighthouse Camp does have some assets. Some things, even before the war, were absolute secrets. After passing through 3 heavy blast doors, the stench of the apocalypse vanished, replaced by a faint smell of ozone. This is the former Haishan Biotech Research Institute's P4 laboratory, and the final stronghold of the Lighthouse Camp. Please enter. Zhou Qing entered the biometric verification code, and the alloy doors slid open. Under the dim emergency lights, neat precision instruments and culture tanks were revealed. This is our core asset. Zhou Qing pointed to the black full-coverage armor in the center of the lab. Titan, exoskeleton prototype, and the accompanying third-generation Neuralink system. I looked at this machine through the cover. This steel monster. It was covered in rugged hydraulic lines, exuding a cold industrial beauty. This was what the army originally planned to deploy. The 4th-generation individual combat system, Zhou Qing introduced. It can give an ordinary soldier the strength to lift a small car, a running speed of 60 km per hour, and can withstand 12.7 mm caliber machine gun direct fire. Very strong. I evaluated it fairly. Too bad it's just a pile of scrap metal. Su-won skillfully brought up the console data, coldly pouring cold water on the situation, because there are no matching high-energy batteries. Right now it can only take a few steps in the lab while plugged in. Once the power is unplugged, it's just a several hundred-pound iron coffin. Zhou Cheng stiffened, then walked to a safe. Correct. Energy is indeed the biggest problem. He took out a black cube. So, this is the real treasure. A high-density solid-state hydrogen battery. Zhou Cheng's eyes were fanatical. This is the top secret of Haishan City Energy Research Institute. Its energy density is 50 times that of traditional lithium batteries. Theoretically, with just this one battery, Titan could fight at full power for 6 hours. 50 times. My pupils contracted slightly. This means the industrial logic of the real world will be completely overturned. But, Su-won added another blow. You can't build it. Yes, we can't build it, Zhou Cheng admitted bitterly. This thing has extremely high environmental requirements. It needs a dust-free vacuum production line and an extremely stable and massive power supply, as well as a complete rare metal refining industry chain. In today's Wasteland world, it's hard to even find a qualified screw, let alone the crown jewel of industry like this. Zhou Cheng looked at me, with a desperate, all-or-nothing probe in his eyes. I smiled. These harsh conditions he couldn't meet in the ruins, for the country behind me, are exactly what we specialize in. Mr. Lin, you possess resources beyond our imagination, and even some kind of magical transport channel. He had obviously guessed something. I am willing to offer everything here. Blueprints, samples, data, even all the researchers under my command. Zhou Qing took a deep breath. In exchange, I hope to retain management rights over the Lighthouse Camp survivors. Of course, nominally we would be your subordinate organization. You want to be a vassal king? I interrupted him with a half-smile. I just want, in this chaotic world, to find a way to survive for the brothers who follow me, and to keep a bit of dignity for myself. This technology was priceless even before the war. I walked around the Titan, the sound of alloy clinking echoing in the lab. Leader Zhou, you seem to have misunderstood one thing. I stopped and looked him in the eye. In business negotiations, the value of an asset depends not only on itself, but more on who the buyer is, and and whether the seller has the right to refuse. I pointed to the battery. In your hands, this thing can only light up a few bulbs, or serve as an expensive brick. It can't help you resist the beast tide. Instead, it will attract hungry wolves like the Black Steel Group. But in my hands, I raised my voice slightly. I have a complete industrial system. I have tens of thousands of engineers. I have endless raw materials. Those industrial barriers that trouble you are just the electricity cost of starting the machines to me. I can turn it into a mass-produced commodity, into a shield to protect humanity, into a light that illuminates the darkness. You call it a treasure, but in your hands, it's just a death sentence. As for the management rights you mentioned, Leader Joe, do you think those survivors who just ate braised pork would rather keep eating husks and vegetables with you, or would rather follow me and eat meat every meal? The color drained from Zhou Cheng's face. Their hearts had already been bought with my few buckets of porridge. So, this is not a negotiation at all. I took the battery from his hand. This is an acquisition, and a bankruptcy liquidation acquisition at that. I'll give you two choices. First, leave here with your dignity, and go argue logic with the zombies outside. Second, unconditionally merge into Base 01. You can take a position in our logistics or HR department, though you'll no longer have the title of leader. At least you'll have clean water to drink, hot meals to eat, a safe bed to sleep in. Even if you behave yourself, I can give you a squad that truly belongs to you, a well-equipped squad, to realize your ideal of protecting survivors. Aside from the humming of the servers, the hall fell into dead silence. I choose the second option. He lowered his head, as if he had exhausted all his strength. A wise choice. I casually tossed the battery to Suwan. Dr. Su, these things are yours. Organize the data as quickly as possible. We need to take them home, through cross-dimensional communication. Professor Chen Gufeng of the CAS in the real world was almost driven wild on the other side of the screen. Genius. Simply a genius concept. What do you mean, Elder Chen? I asked while playing with the sample. Lin Han, do you know what this means? Professor Chen pointed at the structural diagram, his voice trembling. Before this battery appeared, human energy storage technology was actually always in the Stone Age. Whether it's lithium batteries or graphene batteries, they essentially cannot break through the limits of chemical energy. But this battery, it utilizes a special crystal structure to solidify hydrogen atoms in a metallic state within the lattice. This is not just a battery. This is simply a miniature, safe hydrogen bomb energy reservoir. Its energy density has reached a staggering 5,000. What does that mean? The best current military lithium batteries are only around 300. It's over 10 times stronger than existing batteries. Didn't Zhou Cheng just say 50 times? He might have been comparing it to their post-apocalyptic, old energy system from before the fall, or the theoretical limit. Professor Chen waved his hand and said, but even 10 times the current capacity is enough to change the world. Just think about it. An electric car with an original range of 500 kilometers. With this installed, the range could reach 8,000 kilometers. This is even more enduring than fuel cars. More importantly, it solves our current biggest pain point, the miniaturization of high-energy weapons. You mean exoskeletons? Not just exoskeletons. Professor Chen was extremely excited. Also electromagnetic railguns, high-energy laser weapons. The reason these things couldn't be deployed before was because they required carrying a huge generator. But now, a battery the size of a brick is enough to support a high-intensity urban street battle. Lin Han, you didn't just bring back a battery. You brought back a key to open the gates of future warfare. My heart raced with excitement. This is exactly the meaning of the dual-world portal. What about mass production? No problem, Elder Chen answered decisively. We have vacuum and dust-free environments. We have stable power from the national grid. Rare earth elements are piled up like mountains in the National Reserve Bureau's warehouses. As long as we understand its principle and catalyst formula. Give me 3 months. No, 1 month. And I can produce the first batch of domestic samples. Good. I nodded heavily. Then I'll leave it to you. After disconnecting the communication, Suwan was still busy. I looked at her. It seems your dowry is quite generous. Don't be happy too soon. The battery is just the power source. The real treasure is this. She pointed to the Titan being disassembled. Do you think an exoskeleton is just a few steel plates and motors? Massive amounts of code flowed across the screen. This is the crystallization of a complete industrial system. Su Wan's eyes sparkled. To drive this big guy, the scientists of Haishan City developed a matching carbon-based chip architecture. The computing power is 10 times that of current silicon-based chips, and the power consumption is extremely low. To make it as flexible as human limbs, they wrote a third-generation neuromorphic AI. This is a true prototype of artificial intelligence. And this, holographic tactical goggles. It requires more than just micro projection technology, but also the real-time battlefield situational awareness algorithms behind it. This code just lies quietly on the server's hard drive. I realized I had brought back an entire military-industrial chain, then moved the equipment and the people back too. I waved my hand grandly. What Haitian City can't do, we'll do in our world. What our world can't do, we'll mine here, refine, and then take it back to make, complementing both worlds. There's nothing we can't handle. Li Jian stepped into the laboratory at this moment. Chief, the relocation operation has begun. After reporting the progress, his expression turned serious. However, while clearing the lighthouse camp warehouse, we found some other things. A large batch of sealed potion number 2. Li Jian frowned deeply. Namely, that kind of enhancement potion from the Black Steel group. Although Zhou Qing didn't use it on a large scale, he seems to have been conducting improvement experiments in secret. I looked at Suwan. Suwan, I'll leave this to you. I know. Suwan nodded. I'll analyze its components. If the side effects can be eliminated, it might become our trump card against high-level mutants. If not, then destroy it. I responded coldly. We don't need to create a group of short-lived monsters to defend our home. Understood. I stood up, straightening my collar. Getting a hold of battery technology means that electromagnetic weapons from the real world can now be put on the agenda. Let's go and check out our new assets. By the way, it's time to prepare a big gift for the Black Steel group. Inside the lighthouse camp, my team and I were like army ants on the move, carrying out a highly constructive relocation. That microscope, handle it with care. That's a Zeiss antique from Germany. Remove the hard drives from those server racks first. Right. Watch out for static electricity. Pack up all these culture media, regardless of whether they're useful. Professor Chen said, even trash should be taken back for analysis. Dozens of engineers and exoskeletons, under Suwan's command, with professional thoroughness, didn't even spare the panels on the walls. Officer Lin, beside them, Zhou Qing watched as even the emergency lights in the hallway were removed, his mouth twitching involuntarily. Do these lights have to be taken too? I took a sip of water, speaking as if it were obvious. Those are long-life lights powered by nuclear batteries. Although the technology is a bit old, they're still very useful in the wild. Leader Zhou, waste is shameful. Zhou Qing sank into a state of total frustration, speechless. He finally witnessed our bone-deep frugality. 2 hours later, the heavy-duty convoy drove away from the ruins. Survivors leaned against the windows of the modified buses, saying uneasily, "Where are we going?" "I don't know. I heard we're going to Base 01. I just hope there's a hot meal to eat." When the well-lit Base 01 came into view, suppressed gasps erupted inside the bus. "My God! There's electricity here. Are those searchlights? Aren't they afraid of attracting zombies? Look, those are vegetable greenhouses." What greeted them wasn't the muzzles of guns, but the aroma of food. "Everyone off the bus. Follow the instructions, and undergo decontamination first." After washing away 12 years of radioactive dust, changing into training uniforms, and holding steaming white buns and braised pork with potatoes, the psychological defenses of these wastelanders completely collapsed. "It's meat! It's actually meat! I thought I'd never eat white flour again in my life. Mom, this water is sweet!" Zhou Qing huddled in a corner with his tray, watching his subordinates devour their food, and seeing those clear, hopeful eyes. I lost. He picked up a piece of braised pork, swallowing his ambition along with the meat. A complete and utter defeat. Base Command Center. I listened to the report in front of the monitors. The integration process is going smoothly, the adjutant reported to Zhao Jiangwo. After preliminary screening, the proportion of research personnel among these survivors is very high. Among them, there are 35 senior experts, over 120 intermediate engineers, and nearly 200 skilled technical workers, especially the biology and mechanical engineering experts we urgently need. They are all here. They are all treasures. Very good. Zhao Jiangwo nodded. Tell Dr. Su to arrange their placements as soon as possible, especially those specializing in electronics. Have them collaborate with Professor Chen. First, fully master the data in that server. Yes, sir. By the way, Chief. Li Jian's expression suddenly turned grave. The sentries responsible for the perimeter just reported that on the way back with the convoy, they seemed to feel vibrations in the ground. Vibrations? Was it caused by tanks? Doesn't seem like it. The frequency of the vibration is very low. Moreover, it comes from deep underground. It's as if something massive is shifting. An electronic map suddenly flashed through my mind. Right beneath the city center is the legendary Hive. Chief, did this move disturb it? Strengthen the alert. Zhao Jiangwo ordered in a deep voice. Radars to full power. Double the drone patrol range. Once any anomaly is detected, immediately trigger a level 1 combat alert. Yes, sir. Meanwhile, in the real world, a top-secret underground command center in Beijing, Professor Chen, eyes bloodshot, carrying a black case, stood before the high-ranking officials who could shake the international situation. Chief, leaders, after 3 teams from our Academy of Sciences, conducted 48 hours of continuous cross-verification. I can now responsibly report to the organization. We have obtained the key to the future. In the dead silence, the elderly man sitting at the head spoke slowly. Professor Chen, you are a hero of the state, and a titan in the scientific community. What we need is data, not adjectives. Chen Gufeng straightened his back and lit up the big screen. This is Sample 01, which is what Comrade Lin Han brought back from the other world. Lighthouse Camp. The solid-state hydrogen battery. Energy density 5000. This is not just a number. It means if we install it in a submarine, our conventional submarines can dive indefinitely like nuclear ones. If we install it in a tank, our armored divisions will no longer need accompanying fuel trucks. If we install it in a drone, our swarms can fly around the Earth 3 times without landing. This is just the tip of the iceberg. The screen switched. This is what Dr. Su Wan organized and transmitted back. The carbon-based chip architecture, although we currently don't have the lithography machines to produce it, but its design logic is ahead of our current silicon-based chips by 2 full generations. If we can fully master it, the chip bottleneck that has strangled us for 30 years will completely become history, and this neuromorphic control algorithm for the exoskeleton, and the underlying logic of this holographic imaging. The entire conference room erupted in excitement. Has it been verified? The elderly man tapped the table. It has been verified. We used that battery to power a high-energy laser in the lab. The result? It easily burned through 10 layers of tank armor plating, and the battery level dropped by less than 1%. The elderly man looked at Zhao Jiangwo on the video screen. Zhao Jiangwo, present. What are Comrade Lin Han's thoughts? Reporting, Chief. Zhao Jiangwo said in a deep voice. Comrade Lin Han's attitude is very clear. Hand it over to the state. He only made one request, hoping the state can use these technologies to build combat capability as quickly as possible, to support the other world in return, because the threats over there may far exceed our imagination. The elderly man scanned the room. Comrades, heaven gives, but if we do not take, we will suffer the consequences. Since that child has placed this immense fortune in our hands, then we must not only be able to handle it, but also turn it into a sword to defend the revival of the Chinese nation. I propose, first, establish the Kunlun Technology Group as a cover for military-civilian integration, led by Comrade Chen Gufeng, mobilizing the strength of the entire nation to focus on the reverse engineering of otherworld technology. Second, raise the secrecy level of the Spark project to the highest grade, except for those present and personnel directly involved. Anyone attempting to eavesdrop on the news shall be charged with treason. Third, approve the deployment of additional engineering corps and special forces to Base 01. Comrade Lin Han is right. We need cross-world complementarity. Experiments that cannot be done on Earth, do them over there. The materials they lack, we provide. If they need people, we give people. If they need money, we give money. If they need guns, we give guns. The old man suddenly stood up. This time, we will let the world see what China's speed really means. Across the ocean, headquarters of a certain intelligence agency. Chief, something is not right. What is it? The energy network and logistics system of that eastern country have recently shown some inexplicable fluctuations. They have mobilized a large amount of strategic materials, special alloys, rare earths, high-grade cement, even some mothballed military equipment. But these materials are not flowing toward any known national key projects, not for building aircraft carriers, nor to the launch base in the northwest. Their destination is vague. They seem to be converging on a coastal city in the south, but after that, it's like a stone cast into the sea, vanishing without a trace. Moreover, the civilian power grid load in that area hasn't increased significantly. Instead, encrypted communication via military fiber optic cables surged by 300%. Strange. The director narrowed his eyes. This silent, large-scale mobilization made him smell a scent of extreme danger. Could they be building some secret underground fortifications? Or developing some new weapon that requires massive resources? No matter what they are doing, time is of the essence. The director put down his coffee cup. His tone was cold. Activate our deep cover sleepers over there. Tell them, at all costs, even if they can only get a scrap of waste paper. I want to know exactly what the Chinese are hiding. Half a month later, Haiban City High-Tech Development Zone, a large industrial park that had been stalled for half a year due to a broken funding chain inside the park. It was completely revived within these 2 weeks. Late at night, countless military heavy-duty trucks roared in. Armed police blocked the entrances. The park was even upgraded to a temporary no-fly zone, and in front of the core office building, workers had just hung a brand new plaque. Kunlun Technology Company, Limited. No ribbon cutting, no media. This company, destined to change the global landscape, was established in eerie low-profile, top floor of the office building. As the executive director of the Kunlun project, Liemo was looking at the bustling scene below. The coffee in his hand had gone cold. Mr. Lee, a young secretary, pushed the door open, carrying thick documents. The first batch of raw materials has been entered into the warehouse. 300 tons of special titanium alloy, 50 tons of high-purity graphene, and rare earth permanent magnet materials urgently allocated from the National Reserve Bureau. Everything is in place. What about the production lines? Liemo turned around. His eyes were sharp after staying up all night. They are running at full capacity. According to Old Chen's blueprints, we modified 3 automated robotic arm production lines overnight. Line 1 is responsible for manufacturing the hydraulic joints of the Kunlun exoskeleton. Line 2 is responsible for the precision casting of the load-bearing frame. Line 3 is responsible for that core energy transmission module. Expected in 24 hours, the first batch of qualified components can be produced. Liemo nodded, pointing to the red secure phone on the desk. 3 more suppliers just called to fish for information, asking what exactly we are building, why the purity requirements for materials are so insane. Go tell the procurement department. Anyone who dares to ask one more question, kick them out of the supplier list immediately. Permanently blacklist them. Additionally, notify the security department. Raise the park's confidentiality level by 1 more grade. Yes. Liemo rubbed his temples. Half a month ago, he was still worrying about research funding. Now, a single signature moves hundreds of millions in funds. Entire trains of materials are allocated. This power intoxicated him, and filled him with awe. That Project 01, he muttered to himself. Where on earth did it come from? As the execution layer, he has no authorization to know. The Dual World Gate was only ordered to produce top-tier parts at all costs, and then transport them via the Green Channel. Report. The secretary returned, lowering her voice. A batch of special equipment has arrived. It was airlifted directly from the Institute of Biology, Chinese Academy of Sciences. 2 fully armed special agents escorted it. They specifically requested it be sent to that special warehouse. Liemo abruptly stood up. Special warehouse. That is the most mysterious material destination in the plan. Let it through, he said in a deep voice. Pass down my order. From now on, any vehicle going to that warehouse will use the Green Channel. No inspection. No one is allowed to stop it. No one is allowed to inspect it. No one is allowed to record it. Understood. Otherworld Forward Base 01. After the personnel and equipment from Lighthouse Camp were fully integrated, the once cold military base gained a hint of scientific vitality. The second underground floor had been converted into a comprehensive laboratory. Brilliant. Truly brilliant. In the biology lab, Professor Zhang, a leading expert from the Institute of Biology, Chinese Academy of Sciences, held the experimental notes, and exclaimed, Dr. Su, under such scarce resources, you actually thought of using mutated plant extracts to stabilize the active structure of the Z virus. This idea is simply a stroke of genius. In Earth's sterile laboratories, we spent our whole lives always thinking about how to kill viruses, but never thought of using their energy properties. This discovery of yours may rewrite the history of human immunology. Su Wan wiped the sweat from her forehead. Actually, I was forced into it. Back then, there was no low-temperature preservation equipment. Virus samples would lose activity 3 hours after leaving the body. I tried everything I had on hand. Finally, I found that the juice of the ghost face vine growing in the ruins could actually put the virus into a dormant state. This is truly how practice leads to real knowledge. Another physicist looked at the glowing crystal core in his hand. And this crystal core, we originally thought it was just some biological stone, but unexpectedly, It is a high-density energy aggregate. This energy structure completely violates existing laws of thermodynamics. Here, the laws of physics seem a little looser. I leaned against the doorframe, watching this harmonious scene. The chemical reaction between the strange materials of the otherworld and Earth's deep industrial foundation is absolutely not as simple as 1 + 1 = 2. Chief Li Jian appeared with a heavy smell of engine oil. The first batch of Kunlun exoskeleton parts sent from the real world has arrived. Our engineers are assembling them. Would you like to take a look? Let's go. I quickly came to the equipment workshop on the first floor. It had become a small arsenal. More than a dozen mechanics were busy around 3 silver-gray mechs. Compared to Lighthouse Camp's bulky Titan prototype, these 3 Kunlun exoskeletons were simply works of art. Streamlined titanium alloy armor, bionic hydraulic structure, and on the back, Professor Chen's miniaturized solid-state hydrogen battery pack. This is Kunlun. Li Jian stroked the cold mech. Total weight, 35 kilograms. Maximum load, 150 kilograms. Its 100-meter sprint time can reach 12 seconds, and it integrates the latest fire control assistance system. Even if a recruit wears it, they can easily suppress the recoil of a heavy machine gun. This is what dimensional superiority means. I nodded with satisfaction. Equip the special ops team with them first. I have a feeling these peaceful days won't last much longer. The walkie-talkie at my waist rang. Lin Han, come to the P3 laboratory. Su Wan could hardly hide her excitement. That thing is ready. Li Jian and I exchanged a glance. Looks like today is a good day. I patted him. Let's go. Let's see what surprise Dr. Su prepared for us. P3 Biology Laboratory. Su Wan carefully took a metal tube out of the refrigerated cabinet. Inside was a pale blue injection. On the other side of the screen, Chen Gufeng and Zhao Jiangwo both looked solemn. This is the key. Su Wan shook the metal tube under the light, combining the induction principle of agent number 2 with the ghost phase vine inhibitor we just discovered, plus the pure energy extracted from a tier 1 crystal core. How safe is it? Chen Gufeng asked. In theory, it's safe. Su Wan looked serious. The original agent number 2 violently cracked the human genetic lock, forcibly overdrawing vitality. But this improved version, you can understand it as a gentle key. It won't forcibly unlock the genetic lock, but by supplementing high-purity energy, it induces cells to self-repair and undergoes slight enhancement. As for the effect, Zhao Jiangwo cares more about practical combat. It's not as exaggerated as the berserk state, Su Wan assessed. It's estimated to increase an ordinary person's strength and endurance by about 30%. Reaction speed increases by 20%. Most importantly, it can significantly enhance the immune system and creates a certain resistance to the Z virus. In other words, soldiers who have been injected with this agent, even if scratched by a zombie, as long as it's treated within 1 hour, there's a high probability they won't mutate. This is a strategic breakthrough. Chen Gufeng slammed the table in excitement. But Su Wan changed her tone. This is, after all, a first-generation prototype. We need a volunteer for human clinical trials. I'll do it. I extended my arm directly. I am the base leader. I have the obligation. Nonsense! Zhao Jiangwo interrupted sharply from the screen. Lin Han, you are not only the base leader, but also the sole host of the Dual World Gate. Your life belongs to the state, not to yourself. Don't try to be a hero. I withdrew my hand. Li Jian stepped forward to take off his coat, but I stopped him. You don't move either. I looked at him calmly. You are the Special Ops Captain, the highest combat commander of the base. Before we are 100% sure it's safe, I cannot gamble with your life. Then who? Li Jian frowned. Go to the POW camp. Bring that guy named Zhang Hu here. Tell him there's a chance to rise to the top instantly. Ask him if he dares to take it. I ordered through the walkie-talkie. 5 minutes later, Zhang Hu, a former Black Steel commando, stood sweating in the lab room. This agent can make you stronger, or it can kill you. I stared at him and got straight to the point. If it succeeds, you will be an official combatant of Base 01, enjoying double credit benefits. Your past will be forgiven. If it fails, we'll set up a headstone for you. Zhang Hu's Adam's apple bobbed violently. The immense temptation overcame the fear. Chief, I'll do it. He made up his mind and sat on the test bed. I'll be a man again in another life. Let's begin. The cold needle pierced the vein. Halfway through the injection, Zhang Hu let out a piercing scream. His muscles convulsed violently, veins bulging like wildfire dragons. Heart rate 160, blood pressure off the charts. Su Wan clenched her fists. His physical condition isn't as good as Captain Li's, so the reaction is more intense. Hold him down. Special Ops members pinned his limbs down firmly. He foamed at the mouth, struggling frantically. 10 minutes of agony, like hellish torture, until the convulsions stopped. He slumped like mud, his whole body flushed red, heart rate dropping, temperature normal. Suwon breathed a long sigh of relief. It worked. Jang-hoo opened his eyes. The world became exceptionally clear. The weakness from hunger was filled by a violent power. I feel. He suddenly sat up, subconsciously clenching his fist. Bang! The stainless steel handrail was crushed flat. Holy shit! He was stunned by his own strength. Strength increased by about 40%. Suwon glanced at the data. Perhaps because his initial base was lower, the increase is actually more pronounced. Very good. I looked at the dazed Jang-hoo. Congratulations. You won the bet. From now on, you are a member of the Sparks Special Ops Squad. Thank you, Chief. He knelt and kowtowed in excitement. But just then, a violent tremor shattered the beakers on the table. Alarm! Lei Long roared anxiously over the broadcast. The underground defense wall has breached. Repeat, the underground defense wall has breached. Something has broken in. Damn it. Right beneath the armory. My expression changed drastically. The armory is the base's lifeline. It seems. Our guests couldn't wait. I grabbed the walkie-talkie. My gaze cold. Li Jian, take your special ops team. Put on the new gear. Jang-hoo, since you've taken the benefits, now it's time to risk your life. Yes, sir. Li Jian snapped on his helmet, radiating killing intent. Jang-hoo grabbed his entrenching tool. A fierce light flashed in his eyes. Don't worry, Chief. Anyone who dares touch our armory, I'll rip them apart. In the outer corridor of the underground armory, the bottom of the reinforced wall was torn open, a hole 2 meters in diameter. From deep within the hole came the ear-piercing sound of claws scraping rock. All teams, attention. Establish a fan-shaped defense line. Shield bearers in front. Fire teams in the rear. Li Jian, in the silver-gray Kunlun Type 1, gave orders calmly. This mecha, combining otherworldly energy with Earth's tech, was filled with a heart-pounding sense of power. 12 Special Ops members quickly sealed off the corridor. Rifles were steadily locked onto the hole. I'm ready too. Jang-hoo, injected with the gene serum, ran over panting. In his hand, he carried a giant hydraulic shear weighing 50 pounds. Yet now, it felt as light as a fire poker. Don't be impulsive. Hold the blind spot on the right flank. Li Jian glanced at him. Yes, sir. Jang-hoo swallowed hard. His wild intuition told him the things in the hole were more dangerous than any zombie. Deep within the hole, countless crimson dots lit up. Thermal imaging showed a large number of high-energy bioreactions. 3 seconds to contact. 2 seconds. A dark shadow shot out like lightning, lunging straight at Li Jian at the front of the line. It was a lean, elongated monster, with no facial features. Its arms mutated into giant bony claws. Hold your ground. Wait until they're close to fire, Li Jian roared. The mecha instantly lowered into a defensive stance. The claws slammed hard onto Li Jian's crossed arms. The massive impact caused the ground to crack, but he didn't retreat a single step. Is that all you've got? Get the hell out. Full power. Li Jian's right fist blasted out like a cannonball. With a loud crack, the monster's chest collapsed, and it was sent flying straight back into the hole. Now, suppressive fire. A metallic storm from 12 rifles instantly poured into the hole. With the help of the exoskeleton, the assault rifles held their triggers down. The night hunters that poked their heads out were instantly riddled with bullets. Die. A team member fired a burst with one hand, reloading with the other. A monster that slipped through leaped onto the ceiling, attempting to bypass the frontal fire. On the right ceiling, Li Jian warned loudly. Leave it to me. Jang-hoo moved. He charged up like a maddened bull, swinging the giant hydraulic shear down violently. The monster's head exploded in midair like a rotten watermelon. Another monster carved a deep gash into Jang-hoo's vest. Blood flowed freely. But Jang-hoo, whose pain was dulled by the serum, crushed the monster's throat with a backhand. The shears snapped its spine. Ha! That felt great. The battle lasted 5 minutes, until no more shadows emerged from the hole. The gunfire gradually ceased. Corpses piled up like mountains. Black blood rose above their ankles. Cease fire. Stay alert. Li Jian raised his fist. His mecha was covered in claw marks. Cover for reload. Li Jian activated skin mode to examine the monster's body. No sense of pain. Bone density is 3 times that of an ordinary zombie. Furthermore, they seem to have lived underground for a long time. Vision has degenerated, but hearing and smell are exceptionally keen. Their claws have barbs, suitable for digging. These are night hunters. Suwon's voice came through the communicator. I've seen this description in Blacksteel's database. They are the scout units of the Hive, specifically responsible for digging tunnels and night raids. Their appearance here indicates the Hive has locked onto our position, indicates the main force of the beast tide is not far. Li Jian looked at the bottomless hole. hole, seal the entrance. He ordered decisively. Engineering team, use quick-drying cement. Plug this hole tight. Also, embed vibration-sensing mines in the walls. If they dare to dig again, send them to heaven. I connected directly to the channel. Lijian, how does it feel? Report, Chief. Lijian flexed his arm. The equipment's performance is excellent. Complete domination. Except for the cooling system heating up under continuous load. There are no other issues. As for Zhang Hu, that guy is a born warrior. Ruthless enough, tough enough. Although he lacks technique. He's an expert in chaotic combat. Very good. I ordered coldly from the command center. Clear the battlefield. Dig out the crystal cores. Don't waste a single one. Tell everyone. This is just the appetizer. The main course is still to come. The alarm had just been lifted. A shrill air raid siren suddenly blasted over the base. This is the command center. Radar detected a large number of high-speed moving targets on the periphery of the ground defense perimeter. Zhao Jiangwo's killing voice came through. They are testing the blind spots of our fire network. Repeat. They are testing the blind spots. As panic spread, the lighthouse survivors who just joined the base fell into complete collapse. It's those monsters. They've caught up. It's useless. The walls can't stop them. They can climb walls and dig tunnels. Shut up. The guard shouted to stop them. Everyone, stay where you are and don't run around. This is Base 01, not your crappy camp. Searchlights scanned the surrounding ruins frantically. Dozens of agile dark shadows avoided the light, using blind spots, using tactical infiltration to find a breakthrough. Report. Enemy spotted at Post 3. Sector C. They're too fast. Unable to lock on. Report. Digging marks found under the wall in Sector D. They want to break through here. Inside the command center. Zhao Jiangwo sneered. First, use underground digging to attract our main force. Then use ground forces to test our air defense blind spots and reaction speed. These aren't beasts at all. This is an army. Su Wan's face was pale. They have a unified brain. These night hunters are just its eyes and tentacles. If we can't hurt them badly all at once, they will keep coming to their deaths in a steady stream, until they figure out our whole cards. Want to see our whole cards? A cruel smile curled on Zhao Jiangwo's lips. Then let's show them what a whole card really is. He grabbed the communicator. Thunder Dragon. Activate the area denial system. Fire 5 flares simultaneously. Light up the sky for me. Then let land shield warm up. Yes. 5 flares instantly lit up the night like day. The night hunters approaching the wall, and the rot flesh flying dragons in the air had nowhere to hide. The base's turret camouflage. The latest short-range air defense and anti-missile system. Land Shield 3000 enters the stage. 11-barrel 30mm rotary cannon. Fire rate up to 11,000 rounds per minute. Radar locking target. Fire control data calculation complete. Die. Thunder Dragon slammed the fire button. High-density tungsten armor-piercing rounds erupted like a dazzling whip of fire, sweeping precisely like the scythe of the Grim Reaper. The rot-flesh flying dragons in the air didn't even have time to scream. They were blown into mincemeat within 5 seconds. The fire whip pressed down. A terrifying fire rate of 180 rounds per second ground the night hunters, along with their cover, into dust. Just 5 seconds of strafing. All the probing monsters vanished, leaving only a ground of meat slurry. The gunfire ceased. The survivors were left speechless, awed by this divine power. Just like that, it's over. A former lighthouse camp guard looked down in horror. In the past, to kill one of these monsters, several of our brothers had to die. That wyvern, we couldn't even scratch its skin. They did it in 5 seconds. That's the difference. The veteran patted him proudly. This is called the integrated system. The moment the radar spots you, you're already a dead man. Here, if a problem can be solved with ammunition, we never waste human lives. You'll get used to it. Inside the command center. Target elimination confirmed. Radar shows no more high-energy reactions in the area. They've retreated. Su Wan stared at the screen. The Hive has severed contact with these scouts. It has already obtained the information it wanted. A ground assault is not feasible. An aerial ambush is not feasible either. Then we force it to change its approach. Zhao Jiangwo gazed deeply into the night sky. Tell everyone not to let their guard down. Now that the probing is over, then next, it will likely launch a general offensive. Lijian, have your special forces rest and recover quickly. Additionally, Dr. Su, those crystal cores just extracted. Prioritize them for Zhang Hu's group. We need more enhanced soldiers. The next one will be the true final battle. Half a month later, Kunlun Tech Industrial Park. Horde City. The park was brightly lit late at night. Inside the massive steel structure workshop, hundreds of CNC machines converged into an awe-inspiring industrial torrent. This place had become a heavily guarded steel beast. Sniper teams were densely deployed on the perimeter. The interior was under total closed management. Hurry, this shipment must be loaded by 3 a.m. The logistics manager waved the dispatch slip, shouting at the workers moving crates disguised as agricultural machinery. Only core personnel knew that each of these crates contained Kunlun individual exoskeletons capable of triggering a military revolution. In the workshop, 3 fully automated production lines were running at high speed. Titanium alloy plates, guided by robotic arms, were combined with otherworld solid-state hydrogen battery packs and miniature hydraulic servo motors, perfectly assembled. Mr. Lee, the latest yield rate report is out. On the second-floor corridor, a young secretary excitedly handed over a tablet. The yield rate for the Kunlun Type I mass production version has risen to 98%. Current daily production can reach 50 sets. This is practically a miracle in industrial history. 50 sets. Liemo glanced at the report with a stern look. Not enough. The order from above is that within 3 days. I want to see 200 finished sets sent to that place. This is a strict order. 200 sets in 3 days. The secretary gasped. That means we need to increase capacity by another 30%. The machines are already running at overload. Then add water cooling. Add lubricant. The people can rest, but the machines don't. Liemo turned around abruptly. This is a top priority urgent order issued directly by the military commission. No one let me down. Every single exoskeleton must be perfect, because they are not just machines. They are the soldiers' second lives. Yes, sir. Liemo looked back at the production line. A newly assembled black mecha was flexibly performing running and jumping movements. Go create history. 3:30 a.m. 5 heavy trucks drove out of the park under armored escort, heading straight for the abandoned underground parking lot in Horde City. Inside Forward Base 01, the light gate in the underground plaza glowed with a faint blue light. Supply crates were being teleported in continuously. My God! Jean, who looked at the neatly arranged silver-gray tactical mechas, his mouth hanging open. From the experimental machines patched together with welds like Li Zhan's, to these mass-produced ones with matte black tactical coatings and honeycomb flexible armor. This is a true work of industrial art. This one is yours. The logistics officer pushed an exoskeleton in front of him. Zhang Hu, serial number 01025. Based on your physique and strength data after the gene serum injection, this is a heavy assault type specially made for you. Heavy type? That's right. It sacrifices some flexibility, but enhances frontal armor and load-bearing capacity. The logistics officer pointed to the reinforced hydraulic rod. Its output is 15 times that of the standard model, allowing you to easily wield heavy melee weapons or operate a heavy machine gun single-handedly. Zhang Hu's hand trembled as he touched the cold metal surface. Try it on. Li Zhan walked over, wearing a commander-type exoskeleton. Yes, sir. System starting. A faint current flowed through his body. Zhang Hu felt his body grow lighter. Power surged through his veins. How does it feel? Li Zhan asked. I feel like I could take on 10 of them. Zhang Hu clenched his fist. The hydraulic boost roared, exploding through the air. Don't be in such a hurry. You'll have your chance to fight. Li Zhan patted his shoulder armor. There are 150 sets of this equipment in total. Priority is given to you recruits who were injected with the gene serum. From now on, you are the heavy infantry company of Base 01. He turned to look at the 100+ steel warriors. Remember, this equipment was provided by the organization. Put it on, and you are no longer wanderers of the apocalypse, but defenders of civilization. Behind us are over 2,000 unarmed compatriots, and Base 01. If we take one step back, they are doomed. Understand? Before the roar faded, a piercing top-level air raid siren tore through the air. Report. The voice from the radar station sounded terrified. Long-range anti-air search radar detected a massive aerial target cluster, bearing 030. Altitude 2000. Quantity. Quantity exceeds 10,000. Repeat. Quantity exceeds 10,000. Li Zhan looked up at the monitor screen. Tens of thousands of rot flesh wyverns obscured the stars and moon like a black tsunami. My God, are those dark clouds? Is this the main course you were talking about? Li Zhan pulled down his mask. A red light flashed. Attention everyone. Prepare for combat. Heavy Infantry Company. Follow me to the surface. Shoot those birdmen down. Underground command center. Dozens of LCD screens lit up. Report. Long-range anti-air warning radar has detected massive abnormal signals. Bearing 030. Altitude 3,000 meters. Distance 250 kilometers. Speed approximately 200 kilometers per hour. Li Jian quickly pulled up the combat map. Initial estimate of target quantity exceeds 10,000. The operator's voice wavered for a moment. Confirmed as a swarm of rot-flesh wyverns. 10,000 of them. Li Jian frowned deeply. Activate Level 1 air defense response. Notify the Red Flag Battalion to engage the enemy. This isn't even a battle. It's an industrialized pest control operation. Base perimeter. Camouflage nets slid down. For Red Flag 16 FE anti-aircraft missile launchers raised their tubes. The phased array radar instantly locked onto the black cloud 200 kilometers away. Targets in range. Distance 70 kilometers. All missiles fire. Copy that. First wave. 32 missiles launched. Dozens of missiles pierced the night sky. High explosive fragments 70 kilometers away bloomed in the black cloud into spheres of death. Tens of thousands of preformed fragments triggered a chain reaction. A rain of flesh and blood fell from the night sky. First wave interception. Approximately 1,500 targets confirmed killed. Second wave of missiles loaded. Fire. Third wave fire. 5 waves of missiles swept through the black cloud like giant brooms. Surviving wyverns broke through the interception net and approached within 10 kilometers of the base, only to encounter an even more desperate wall of fire. Entering close-in defense zone. Land shield 3000 unlocked. Free fire. 11-barrel 30mm rotary cannons roared. 3-kilometer-long crimson whips of fire tore through the night sky. A fire rate of 11,000 rounds per minute wove an absolute death zone. The wyverns that slipped through had no time to scream. They were instantly turned into exploding mists of blood. Close-in defense zone cleared. No surviving targets confirmed. The entire process took less than 10 minutes. 10,000 rot-flesh wyverns were completely annihilated. On the ground, Zhang, who looked at the fireworks show in the sky, stunned. It's over already? He touched the chainsword in his hand. I thought I'd get to stretch my muscles. This is modern warfare. Li Jian's tone was flat. No hand-to-hand combat. No passion. Only data and clearing. For these low-level mutants, they aren't even qualified to see our faces. He turned to look deep into the ruins. The real threat is still behind. Alarm! The radar operator's voice suddenly trembled. High-energy target reaction detected. Target speed is extremely fast. It's flying low to the ground, 5 kilometers from the base. Altitude less than 50 meters. On the big screen, a huge purple dot of light burst out of the shadows. It had been using low-altitude clutter and the sky full of dragon corpses as cover. It only suddenly climbed when it got within 2 kilometers of the base. This is a premeditated raid. Land shield, lock onto it. The fire whip swept across again. However, 30mm heap rounds only created ripples around the target. They were completely deflected by a thick, dark purple halo. Energy shield, Su Wan exclaimed. According to the research data from the Lighthouse camp, this is a special ability possessed only by third-stage mutants. They can convert crystal core energy into a biofield to form physical protection. How strong is it? Extremely high. At least equivalent to over 500 millimeters of composite armor. Under the searchlights, a giant dragon king with a wingspan of over 15 meters revealed itself. It withstood the land shield's fire, eyes burning with the rage of tactical intelligence. Like a purple meteor, it crashed toward the base. It's consuming the shield's energy, but at this speed, it can easily reach the base before the shield is depleted. The tank's elevation angle is insufficient. Unable to lock on, Lei Long roared over the channel. It's flying too high. Our main guns can't hit it. I watched the approaching dot of light, a cold glint flashing in my eyes. Lei Long, don't panic. Li Jian spoke calmly on the public channel. Since missiles can't hit it, and autocannons can't pierce it, he marked the designated engagement zone, preparing to activate interception plan B. Activate the electromagnetic gravity trap. All ground personnel, enter shelters immediately. Heavy infantry company, prepare for engagement. Li Jian is ready to work. Let it in. Li Jian locked onto that purple afterimage. Since it wants to play decapitation, we'll play along to the end. Since it wants hand-to-hand combat, we'll give it exactly that. Copy that. Heavy infantry company is in position. We'll wait for it at the base square. Li Jian responded calmly. Su Wan, analyze its weaknesses. The shield's energy comes from the crystal core inside its body. If we can attack the crystal core directly, or make its energy consumption exceed its replenishment rate, the the shield will collapse instantly. In other words, we need stronger firepower, or more precise attacks. Theoretically, AP rounds from a 125mm tank gun should be able to penetrate its shield, Suwon said, but only if it's on the ground, or at a low enough altitude for the tanks to aim. Then let's bring it down. Li Jian drew a red circle on the main screen, his gaze piercing. Since it wants to play decapitation, we'll play along to the end. The hardened ground of the central base square shattered instantly. The massive purple Dragon King descended. A violent hurricane blew supply crates scattered everywhere. It raised its head and let out a soul-shaking roar. Its purple vertical pupils were full of contempt and brutality. But the panic and flight it expected did not happen. The square was deathly silent. Cold beams of searchlights focused intently on it. Dozens of warriors clad in Kunlun-type exoskeletons slowly stepped out, holding unsharpened heavy chain swords or barbed launchers. Li Jian, leading them, stretched his hydraulic cervical vertebrae. Welcome to hell. The Dragon King seemed to understand the provocation. It roared in fury. Its thorn-covered tail swept in like a battering ram with a sonic boom. Scatter! Li Jian roared. The hydraulic pump burst instantly, launching him several meters to the right. The giant tail carved a half-meter deep trench into the reinforced concrete. Do it! Don't let it fly! 4 special alloy steel cables shot out like venomous snakes, locking firmly into the gaps of the Dragon King's wing bones. 2 others wrapped around its hind legs. The Dragon King struggled frantically, flapping its wings. Hold it down! Hold it back! Zhang Hu roared. Exoskeleton power to maximum. Steel feet plowed sparks into the ground. 3 other soldiers gripped the steel cables tightly. Their total output exceeded 5 tons. But it was still nothing against the Tier 3 Beast King. The Flying Dragon King beat its wings violently, instantly dragging the 4 of them off the ground. Damn it! The power gap is too wide. This beast has at least dozens of tons of thrust. Zhang Hu grit his teeth, suspended in midair. Then let's give it a little something extra. ZZZZT. Li Jian activated the chainsword, using jet assistance to leap up, charging like a shell toward the Flying Dragon King's unscaled belly's soft spot. The Flying Dragon King opened its maw wide. A purple light glowed deep in its throat. Watch out! It's about to spit acid! Suwon screamed over the comms. Too late! Li Jian crossed his arms to brace for the impact. Splat! Thick purple acid instantly engulfed him. Sizzle, sizzle, sizzle. Thick smoke billowed from the armor. Alarms blared frantically. Warning! Armor integrity dropped to 60%. Warning! External sensors failed. Captain? Zhang Hu's eyes flared with rage. He let go and pulled the pin of a demolition charge, hurling it at the Flying Dragon King's head. Eat this! The grenade exploded right before the beast's eyes. The flash and shockwave momentarily blinded it. The acid spray was interrupted. Li Jian crashed heavily to the ground. Relying on his battered exoskeleton, he stubbornly stood back up. I'm okay. It's enraged. Here's the chance. The Flying Dragon King went completely berserk. Folding its wings, it charged like a heavy tank, intent on crushing these bugs into meat paste. The earth trembled, but no one retreated, because the true king was about to appear. A dull sound of loading echoed from the shadows of the side hangar. The sound of crushing treads roared. The instincts of a Tier 3 creature made the Flying Dragon King stop abruptly. A cold, heavy steel behemoth emerged from the shadows. CTZ-99A main battle tank, its 125mm high-pressure smoothbore gun, was aimed dead at the Flying Dragon King's head from less than 50 meters. I heard your shield is quite tough. I spoke coldly over the comms channel. AP shell, load 1 round. The Flying Dragon King felt the fear of death, frantically mobilizing its energy. The purple shield doubled in thickness. Fire! The muzzle blast blew away debris. An APFSDS shell with an initial velocity of 1,700 meters per second screamed out. In the face of absolute kinetic energy, the purple shield, claimed to block 30mm autocannons, shattered into pieces. The AP shell pierced through the Flying Dragon King's chest, blasting a clean hole straight through where the crystal core was. Purple blood and organs splattered everywhere. The remaining kinetic energy plowed a deep crater behind it. The Flying Dragon King froze in place. The purple light dimmed. The massive carcass crashed to the ground. Is this the justice of Caliber? Zhang Hu, still suspended in midair, swallowed hard. Suwon let out a long sigh of relief. I stood up in the command center. This is the sample we need. Notify the recovery team. Dig out the crystal core. That is our ticket to Tier 3. Also, for tonight's late night snack, give the heavy armored company 2 extra chicken drumsticks. As the smoke cleared, Suwon, wearing a white biohazard suit. A high-frequency laser cutter dug through the charred blood to extract a deep dark purple crystal. It looked as if a nebula were sealed inside. Energy pulses caused the air to warp slightly. Radiation readings are high, but the energy is extremely pure. Its energy density is at least 10 times that of a Tier 2 core. If we can analyze its structure, our research into solid-state hydrogen batteries will make a qualitative leap. I walked to her side and took the lead-lined container. Good work. However, its primary purpose isn't a battery, but a key. Let's go. Let's see what kind of door this key can open. The underground light gate hall. I took out the deep purple Tier 3 crystal core. The light gate sensed the energy. The blue vortex spun violently, emitting a hum that shook the entire base. High tier energy core detected. Tier 3. Base energy reserves confirmed sufficient. Upgrade conditions met. Upgrade now? Yes. The crystal core turns into purple light and merges into the center of the vortex. Invisible waves ripple outward. The light portal rapidly expands to 10 meters square, enough for main battle tanks to pass through side by side. Blue mixed with a noble purple hue. Unknown silver runes appear on the frame. Dual world portal system LV3. Size 10 by 10 meters. Cooldown none. Energy consumption for constant open state reduced by 50%. New features. Enable portable space. Unlocks a 1000 cubic meter subspace warehouse. Absolutely secure. Time stasis. Secondary space portal. Can open a secondary portal at a designated location in the otherworld, directly connected to the main portal. Enables instantaneous material transport. Environmental purification field, centered on the light portal, within a 5 km radius. Automatically purifies viruses and radiation in the air. Suppresses the activity of low-level zombies. The portable space is finally here. I try storing and retrieving the lead box. It takes less than a second. A portable armory capable of holding dozens of tanks at any time. Completely solves the logistical nightmare, but this pales in comparison to the strategic value of the second feature. Secondary space portal. I can open a portal right on top of a resource point. Lin Han, look at this, Su-Wan exclaims while staring at the detector. The radiation index around the portal is dropping rapidly, and the virus concentration in the air is also decreasing. This portal, it's purifying the environment. It's called the Environmental Purification Field. From today on, the 5 km area around Base 01 will be the only pure land in this wasteland. We can consider taking off our hazmat suits. I smile slightly. This is simply stronger than the most efficient air purification towers on Earth, hundreds of times stronger. If the range could be expanded, that day will come. I interrupt her, looking at the soldiers behind me with a determined gaze. Pass down the order. Expand the underground garage immediately. We need to make room for more big guys, since the portal has grown larger. Then heavy engineering machinery and larger weapons from Earth can also be brought in. Second, have the staff department redraw the operational plan. Our next target is no longer just a simple cleanup of the surroundings. I point to the red area in the northwest corner of the map. This is Redstone Canyon. According to records from the Lighthouse Camp, this area contains rich rare earth veins and a high-energy associated crystal mineral called redstone. News came from Professor Chen Gufeng. Earth's reverse engineering of solid-state hydrogen batteries has hit a bottleneck. We can build the batteries, but we can't solve the stability issue in high-energy states, making miniaturization impossible. And this redstone is a natural, perfect stabilizer. Only by obtaining it can we truly mass-produce military-grade high-energy batteries and give the Kunlun exoskeletons a real heart. I point toward the city center again, and here is the Sky Dome building, once the tallest building in Haishan City, possessing the most complete pre-war tech data and a supercomputing center. Su-Wan looks thoughtful. These two places have immense strategic value, but the cost is too high to push forward forcefully with our current strength. That was the case before. I curl my lips with confidence, but now with the secondary space portal, distance is no longer an issue. We're going to plant a flag in Redstone Canyon and turn that mining area into our own backyard. Haiban City, Base 0. Third basement level of Happy Home Community. This is the first forward base established after the state took over the portal. After 3 months of emergency expansion, it has become a massive underground fortress, directly connected to the armory by heavy rail. The giant portal in the core area ripples. Su-Wan steps out. She is wearing deep blue casual clothes. Only the lingering fatigue between her brows betrays her. Welcome to Earth, Dr. Su. I lean against the metal counter, tossing car keys and greeting her with a smile. Su-Wan breathes in the air greedily. At Base 01 in the otherworld, no matter how thick the protective walls are, outside is always radioactive dust and the stench of rotting corpses, making one afraid to even breathe deeply. But here, Here, even the smell of dust in the basement is sweet. All indicators normal. No virus detected. The detector lights up green, thanks to the LV3 portal's purification field. The tedious decontamination process is skipped. Go to the locker room and change first. Since it's a vacation, don't dress so formally. A few minutes later, Suwon changed into a purple sweater and light blue jeans. This was the first time in 12 years she took off her combat gear. The elevator ascended. The numbers jumped from 3 to 1. I noticed her nervously clutching the hem of her clothes. The doors opened. No alarms. No roars. What flooded her ears was the vibrant bustle. Uncle Wang, don't let your dog run wild. Mom, what's for dinner tonight? I want braised pork. Pushing open the building entrance, the midday sun poured down, making Suwon squint her eyes. In the small square, children were chasing each other. Elderly people were playing chess. A golden retriever was lazily basking in the sun. Skyscrapers stood tall in the distance. Traffic flowed like a river. This ordinary winter afternoon scene was paradise in Suwon's eyes. Tears welled up and fell without warning. In the other world, plants eat people. Life is full of screams. But here, life is free. That is, the sun. She reached out her hand. The warmth leaking through her fingers melted the ice accumulated in her blood for 12 years. Yes, the sun. I stood beside her and whispered, no need to worry about radiation. No need to worry about acid rain. Nor about mutants suddenly rushing out. Here, you can sleep under the sun. Until you wake up naturally. Thank you? She choked up, her voice trembling. If I hadn't come back, I would have almost forgotten the world was originally like this. I handed her a tissue, quietly staying by her side. This is where our souls truly belong. After a long while, Suwon stopped her tears. We sat side by side on a bench. A young couple next to us were loudly scrolling through their phones. Did you see the news? Huawei and BYD released the new Kunlun technology battery. Phone battery lasts a week. EV range is 2,000 kilometers. No wonder oil stocks crashed. Hey, should we try to grab one from the first batch? Suwon froze and turned to look at me. That's the youth version of the solid-state hydrogen battery technology we brought back. I lowered my voice and smiled. The byproduct technology is already enough to push Earth's tech forward a giant leap. Is this the meaning of peace? She murmured to herself. Yes, we bring back the nightmares from there and turn them into miracles here, using the resources of that world to protect the warmth of life in this world. Suwon remained silent for a long time. Suddenly, she showed the most relaxed smile in 12 years. Lin Han, take me for a walk. I want some milk tea, full sugar and ice. I burst out laughing and made a gesture for her to lead the way. Here is your full sugar and ice milk tea. I handed her the chilled cup. Suwon took a satisfied sip, feeling the sweetness explode in her mouth. So sweet. Over there, sugar is a controlled resource, and there was never any ice. She looked at the ice cubes swirling in the cup. Her gaze became somewhat vacant. Do you know, at the lighthouse base, we didn't even have an ice machine. Even in the hottest summers, we could only drink lukewarm water. We walked to the outdoor seating in the commercial area. She stared at the elderly people pushing strollers. Her eyes were tender yet sorrowful. Children, she whispered, over there. It's very rare to see babies at the lighthouse base. If a pregnant woman was found, everyone would give up the best resources, because every new life is hope. But even so, in 12 years, only 3 children were born in the base. 2 of them passed away before they were a month old. I remained silent. This pain cannot be eased by words. Let's go. I'll take you shopping at the mall. Half an hour later, the largest shopping center in Haiban City. Suwon froze like a statue. Bright fruits piled like mountains on the shelves. Fresh meat neatly arranged in the freezers. And live fish swimming. This is all real. She picked up an apple and smelled it. It was a fresh fruity scent. Back there, only the high-ranking could enjoy such pollution-free fruit. But here, they are just piled up casually on the side. Seeing a stalker throw slightly bruised strawberries into the bin, Suwon's fists clenched tightly. Her breathing became heavy. Too extravagant. They have no idea how precious these things are. If this were back there, for just a few strawberries, 10 people might die. She couldn't bear to look any longer. She turned and walked toward the daily necessities section. Dozens of brands of shampoo, fragrant body washes, reminded her of the soap made from animal fat and wood ash at the lighthouse base. These things, can they really be eaten? She asked, pointing at the dazzling array of snacks. Of course. Why do you ask? Back there, all food must undergo at least 3 rounds of virus and radiation tests before being consumed. We arrived at the 5th floor food court. The rich aroma of barbecue and hot pot hit us. Watching young people scrolling through their phones and complaining the meat was too fatty. A flash of pain crossed Suwon's eyes. Too extravagant. Back there, Being able to eat one's fill is the greatest happiness. So, I looked into her eyes, my tone serious. That's why we must bring back the nightmares from there, and transform them into miracles here. Use the resources of that world to protect the vibrancy of this world. Dr. Su, this is the value of our work. Su-won remained silent for a long time. The urge to protect all this surged wildly in her heart. Lin Han. She suddenly looked up, her gaze as firm as iron. I'm done playing. Take me to Redstone Canyon. So soon? I was a bit surprised. Didn't we agree on a day of relaxation? I've relaxed enough. She glanced at the city lights outside the floor-to-ceiling window, turned around, and stared at me with burning intensity. More than shopping. I now want to see those redstones transported into the lab. Only those things can protect the lights here and light up the darkness over there. I stopped joking and straightened my collar, extending my hand to her. As you wish, Madam Chief Scientist. To completely solve the stability issue of high-energy batteries, I must establish a resource point in the other world's Redstone Canyon, and the first step is to establish a spatial anchor at Special Warehouse number 3 on the Earth side. This is point A of the subgate. I patted the cold wall, recording the coordinates. Good. The preparations on this side are complete. The next task is to go to the other world and open the other end of this gate. Li Zhan habitually checked the equipment. The helicopter formation is ready. According to plan, we will take off from base 01. Air penetration for 128 kilometers, heading straight for Redstone Canyon. Then let's set off. I stepped through the light gate. On the other world's helipad, 3 Z-20s and 2 Z-10s were tearing through the silence of the wasteland. Board the aircraft. I took off swiftly with the elite squad. Su-won stood on the ground, her expression full of worry. Dr. Su, wait for news from me here. Once the subgate opens, you can pass directly through the gate. It's safer and faster. Target: Redstone Canyon. Altitude 1,500. Maintain radio silence. Depart. 5 aircraft headed straight north. Below, cloud shadows swept over the silhouettes of rot-flesh wyverns. The atmosphere inside the cabin was solemn. Attention. There is a swarm of wyverns in the clouds below. The pilot warned in a deep voice. Don't worry. Li Zhan leaned back in his seat. We didn't just apply radar-absorbent coating. We also sprayed the beast repellent spray, developed by Dr. Su. As long as we don't provoke them, they won't notice us. 40 minutes later, the crimson surface appeared like coagulated blood. Target area spotted. Signs of large creature activity below. Suggest clearing the area with firepower first. Approved. I gave the order while looking at the shadows lurking below. The WZ-10's rockets instantly scorched the earth. Amidst the wails of the rock-armored giant lizards, we rappelled down to the ground. I walked quickly toward that perfect cliff. System. Set anchor point B. A deep blue light portal opened wide on the otherworldly wasteland. Behind it was the bright warehouse on Earth. Channel established successfully. I wiped away some sweat. Captain Lee, bring the big guys in. The tracks of the Type 99A tanks crushed the red stones. In less than 5 minutes, the tank formation had finished deploying. The dark muzzles locked onto the depths. Amidst the dust and smoke, several massive rock-armored giant lizards roared and charged, attempting to defend their territory. Seems the natives aren't very welcoming. I sneered and retreated behind the armor. All crews, attention. Open fire at will. The 125mm smoothbore guns demonstrated absolute dominance. The lead lizard was instantly blown to pieces. The remaining ones were completely torn apart in the 30mm autocannon's metal fire net. Safety confirmed. Dr. Su, you can come over now. Su-won crossed the portal and entered the Redstone Canyon. Her breathing quickened as she saw the off-the-charts mineral readings. My God, the purity is even higher than I imagined. This energy density, even if not used for batteries, it's enough to be used as high-energy explosives. With these, not only batteries, we could even try to replicate the energy shield technology from there. We must establish a closed laboratory here as soon as possible. The black rain and radiation won't wait for us. Then let's go for it. I pointed to the engineering vehicles streaming out behind me. This will be our new launch point. After returning to the base, a holographic map outlining Haishan City's death red zone was placed in the command center. According to the data from the lighthouse camp, the Skyline building was the tech center of Haishan City before the catastrophe. Su-won pointed to that isolated island surrounded by the zombie tide. The third basement level is the supercomputing center, 80 floors above ground. Floors 50 and 60 are biological laboratories. Floors 70 and 80 are energy research institutes. Most importantly, the building has an independent power system, a nuclear fusion power plant. Theoretically, it can maintain basic operations. But the problem is, how do we get in? Nuclear fusion. Li Zhan's expression turned solemn. Dr. Su, are you sure? That's controllable nuclear fusion. Su-won nodded nodded in confirmation. If we can get the technical data for that equipment on the Earth side, then we must get it even more, I said in a low voice. Facing a defensive line of millions of zombies, a conventional breakthrough would be suicide. We can't attack head-on. Heavy Battalion Commander Li Jian pointed to the industrial zone outside the base. We need to use a more direct method. And then? I pressed. And then, a cold, iron-blooded smile appeared on Li Jian's face. Request the deployment of bombers. Take off from the airport and drop incendiary bombs. Burn the entire city center to ash. Then burn it all. Use napalm, white phosphorus bombs. Turn the entire death red zone into a sea of fire. But the Skyline building, Su Wan frowned deeply. The building is a reinforced concrete structure, and it has an independent power system. Theoretically, it can withstand high temperatures. We don't need to burn the whole city. We just need to clear enough safe corridors. Then send ground forces into the building. What about the flying mutants? That's why we need to establish anti-air positions. Li Jian's finger moved across the map. This operation isn't a small-scale raid, but a full-scale military operation. We will establish the first true military base in the other world. How long will that take? Su Wan asked. Engineer Wang, you tell us. Director Zhao spoke. According to drone reconnaissance, that industrial area is about 2 square kilometers. If 2 engineering battalions are deployed, using heavy machinery, it's estimated to take 3 days to clear and level the runway. But this is the ideal scenario. If there's large-scale zombie interference, it might take longer. Then strengthen the protection. Director Zhao looked at the heavy armor battalion commander, Li Jian. Your heavy armor battalion is responsible for the perimeter guard. Ensure construction safety at all costs. Understood. What about the total operation cycle? Su Wan asked. 5 days. Engineer Wang calculated quickly. 5 days. Li Jian took a deep breath. Operation approved. For the sake of nuclear fusion technology, this risk is worth taking. Operation Code Flame. Approved for execution. Director Zhao made the final decision. 3 days later, the once desolate industrial area had turned into a steel runway. Through the LV-3 light gate, batches of disassembled fighter parts were delivered and rapidly assembled. Inside the hangar, 6 H-6K bombers loaded with HEL packages bared their fangs. Report, Commander. Airport construction complete. Fleet assembly complete. Ready for takeoff at any time. Very good. Li Jian stood in the control tower. Everything is ready. Do you approve the execution of the bombing mission? Approved for execution. Director Zhao gave the final order. Notify the pilots to board. Copy that. The roar of massive engines echoed across the wasteland. This is Thunder Squadron. Preparing for takeoff. Takeoff approved. 6 bombers and 8 J-16s soared into the sky, heading straight for Haishan City. Target confirmed. Haishan City Center. Suddenly intercepted by flying dragons in the air. Attention. Flight targets detected ahead. Approximately 30 in number. Identified as carrion dragons. Approaching our position. Copy that. Escort squadron. Prepare to intercept. Don't let them get near the bombers. Li Jian responded coldly. Understood. Locking targets. Prepare to fire. PL-15 missiles wove a net of death beyond visual range. 2 minutes later, the threat vanished in the no man's land. Threat eliminated. Continue escort. Very good. Enter target airspace. Begin bombing. Copy that. Prepare to drop. Drop. Hundreds of napalm bombs fell like rain into the city. Amidst the roaring sound, the death red zone turned into a blazing sea of lava. Black smoke swallowed the sky. Report. First round of bombing complete. Target area temperature rose by 800 degrees Celsius. Continue. Li Jian's voice was cold. Burn all the zombies to ash. Bombing raids swept the land for a whole day. Until dusk. The Demon's Lair, once home to 1 million zombies, had become scorched earth. Report, Commander. Target area clearing complete. Estimated zombie survival rate is below 1%. Very good. Director Zhao said while staring at the screen. Li Jian, ground forces can move in. At this moment, the armored convoy passed through the ruins still warm with heat. Arrived at the sky tower. 4 teams quickly dispersed. Li Jian led his men through the service elevator straight to the 80th floor. That was the heart of the Energy Research Institute. Found it. Li Jian pushed open the laboratory doors. The energy shield generator and carbon-based chips lay quietly in the safe inside. Quickly scan the data and open them. The cutter sliced through the final barrier. All data from the supercomputing center has been copied. Samples from the biological laboratory have been collected. Equipment blueprints from the Energy Research Institute have been scanned. Core data of the nuclear fusion power plant has been downloaded. Li Jian looked at the heavy chips and blueprints in his hand, deeply feeling the return of human power. Mission accomplished. Prepare for evacuation. Commander, AWACS radar radar detected large-scale aerial targets 150 kilometers away, approaching at high speed. The convoy had just left the ruins when the comms channel exploded with a terrified warning from ATC. Report target characteristics, Li Jian ordered calmly. The radar screen is already completely red, not a flock of flying dragons. These echoes are denser and more fragmented. At least 100,000. 100,000. The number made the air in the vehicle freeze. The accompanying expert's face turned pale. Those are highly toxic scavengers. Once they smell blood, they'll be like mad dogs, relentless until death. How much ammunition does the J-16 squadron have left? Li Jian asked. Ammunition exhausted. Convoy is 12 kilometers away. Full speed takes 15 minutes. Contact expected in 8 minutes. A 7-minute gap is a death sentence. It's okay without missiles. Li Jian's eyes grew fierce. J-16 squadron, execute the sheepdog tactic. They are beasts, not an army, Li Jian said coldly. Since they are beasts, they will fear the sound of thunder. 10,000 meters high. 8 fighter jets suddenly dove. All aircraft, attention. Engage afterburners. Supersonic fly past. The terrifying sonic boom struck like heavenly thunder. Supersonic shockwaves shattered the organs of the leading vultures. The charge formation of the 100,000 beasts collapsed instantly. Well done. The Ground Air Defense Battalion commander pumped his fist. But this can only delay them. After a brief moment of chaos, the beasts locked onto the convoy again, driven by bloodlust. Convoy, full speed ahead. Ignore the formation, Li Jian ordered, gripping the handle tightly. Distance 100 kilometers. Entering the optimal interception range of the HQ-16 FE. First volley. Fire. 24 missiles detonated in the center of the black cloud. Hundreds and thousands of vultures fell, but tens of thousands of survivors continued the pursuit. Distance 15 kilometers. Entering the effective range of the land shield 3000. Open fire. Provide fire cover for the convoy. For whips stretching several km wove a web of absolute death. At a rate of 11,000 rounds per minute, it wiped out the black tide trying to swallow the convoy. A few stray vultures crashed into the roof of the command vehicle, like dense hail, as 35 anti-aircraft guns on both sides of the runway fired cluster munitions, building the final impassable wall of steel balls. The cost of nearly 30,000 corpses finally broke the beast swarm. The convoy rushed through the airport gates. Li Jian pushed the door open and stepped out, stepping onto thick red flesh mud. Calling the tower. Fuel critical. Requesting landing. Cleared for landing. I watched the 8 fighter jets landing, and said to the shocked Suwon beside me, "This is the steel storm you wanted." In the face of absolute fire density, numbers mean nothing. I understand. Suwon nodded. Before, we only thought about how to hide. But now I know how to win. Let's go. Back to Earth. With this data, the next batch sent over won't just be anti-aircraft guns. 2 days later, in the real world. These are the blueprints for the nuclear fusion prototype. Academician Wang's hands trembled with excitement. His glasses reflected the blue light of the screen. Not just blueprints, but also complete experimental data and core material formulas. I pointed to the data stream. With these, we can absolutely, within 3 months, build the first operational miniature nuclear fusion reactor. 3 months. Old One took off his glasses and wiped away tears. If we followed our original progress, it would have taken at least another 30 years. Comrade Lin Han, you have brought back a future for the country. This means we will completely break free from energy constraints. This means our industrial capacity will experience explosive growth. This means we will hold the absolute trump card in international games. Old Wang, you're overstating it. This is just the beginning. Next, we still have carbon-based chips. CITIA system. These technologies will completely transform our industrial system. The state has established the Flint Project Special Task Force, which I will personally lead. Mobilize the country's top experts to fully tackle these technologies. Whether it's a lack of personnel, money, or equipment, as long as you ask, the state will provide full support. Currently, the most scarce resource is still redstone, I said pensively. Solid-state hydrogen battery technology upgrades, and high-energy weapons that may be developed in the future, all depend on this high-energy stabilizer. Although we have opened the passage to Redstone Canyon, the mining volume still can't keep up. Don't worry about that, Elder Wang said with full confidence. The engineering core has already moved in. The higher-ups have given strict orders. Even if they have to dig that mountain hollow, they must ensure the supply of raw materials. I nodded and looked out the window. The industrial park has turned into a giant construction site. The nation's war machine, for the final offensive of another world, is running at full